Wait, I miscounted. 2, 1.
Hello, welcome to Plat Valorant episode 95. 3 of us here in person. We haven't done that in a while, have we?
20 years.
It hasn't been 20 years.
20 years.
We should have flown Connor out just for the moment.
It always
Could have done it.
It always takes me back to the old days. It makes me feel like we're gonna start talking about like Anbox just won the Renegades Cup or whatever the fuck was going on back in like what was it?
Yeah,
like
2020,
the year 14.
Yeah, I mean that when we were doing those episodes when I was there as well, that was pre-pandemic 2020.
Yeah,
that was like I was at your house.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, what do you mean? No, it wasn't. I wasn't coming over in the middle of the pandemic. I was locked inside my little bunker.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen the outdoors.
The beta was out in like June.
No, no. It began in April. We were doing our first episodes in like April or something.
No way.
We've been doing this shit for a long time. We're at episode 95 and we've been taking weeks off for like co-streaming and stuff. I'm telling you, we've been doing this shit longer than you can think. Your brain's been addled by the VODs.
the VODs and the heat.
Yeah, I had to run across the road. I was almost late for the episode. Josh called me, went on video camera. I'm brushing my teeth frantically. I like just ate a bowl of cereal. I got milk in my stomach. I'm running across the road. It's 100 degrees weather. Like the milk's churning. It's churning. I'm running. I just watched G2 Fnatic. I've the last 24 hours of my life been consumed by VODs and only VODs. Just been watching VODs. I've got so much Valorant in my brain.
Okay. Well, now's the time to let it all out. Okay, this is your opportunity to open it up. Okay, so we are live, but also this week, brand brand spanking new. We're actually going to interact with you. Some streamer viewer interaction. Whoa!
I don't want to. What's the catch?
The catch is you interact and the chat likes it. That's the catch. The catch is you're doing something the chat likes that the fans will derive value from. Because before the fans, they were like, why are they even live? Is the question that was asked, and then the answer was because we were looking to farm members. Was the real answer for that? So.
Well, exactly.
Money.
But we've got polls that we're going to be running throughout the show. Really? Polls. We're going to be asking the people what they think, and then we're going to be taking what the people think and tearing it to pieces if we disagree with it. So make sure you, be careful with that one. Listen, it's all anonymized. You'll be fine. And also, we've got super chats active on the show right now as well. And the super chats are going to pop up on my little screen that's just off camera here.
Wow. I'm going to read them though.
For example, I am going to read them. I'm going to read some of them. We've got a super chat from Healing Boost before we even went live that said, only 30 likes. This is so sad. Which, that
is
keep
sad.
In mind, if your super chat is not like additive to what we're talking about, we're not going to derail the show to talk about random stuff.
Yeah, that one wasn't particularly additive, and I still read it out. So I'm not following the instructions.
I just said that
letter,
because you're not setting the standard exactly well here. But we appreciate all donations, of course.
I'm going to up my standards a little bit. We're going to be talking in this episode as well. If you remember back to the last episode, we asked you guys, what regions do you want to hear about? And you said, you just commented at everything.
NA, right? Well, North America.
We are going to be talking about North America, yes. But that's the same as every week.
But they want more of it, right? They want more of it.
Well, yeah, probably.
Because the tier 2 of North America.
No, we're not doing that.
The Georgetown LAN.
I really just want to. Can we talk about how Lenny Time are just taking down every Knights Weekly Cup? We dive into that.
No.
The best part about that team is that Sugar Free, aka Lenny, is not even on that roster. Nor has he ever been on that roster, as far as I'm aware, right? For Lenny Time, so.
Is it named after a person?
I believe.
One of the players
Sugar
is called
Free.
Lenny.
I'm glad
Sugar Free.
Lenny Time.
It's based off Sugar Free. You know the Overwatch player Sugar Free?
I did not know that.
His name is like Lenny. His name is Lenny.
Really?
And
we're in actually the deep lore here. We have gone into
Lenny
the deep
Time.
lore.
It literally, if you search up Lenny Time, it has his photo.
Avast,
it has the Sugar Free photo
louder
on it.
into your mic?
Yeah. Hello. Hello. I have a new mic again, by the way.
You look like you're in a NASA space station.
Loud as funny.
Yeah,
Dude, I mean-
actually we're figuring out propulsion systems for how to get audio to the level that it can blow out everyone's speakers. So I have a new mic again, by the way. It's not the same mic that I had before.
Yeah.
It's been moved.
You're like a UN
because
convention.
Yeah, well, we're figuring out what can we do to solve the Lenny time crisis in tier 2.
We're not going to talk about Tier 2 North America. We're going to talk about Korea. We're going to talk about Brazil. We have plans to talk about... We're going to talk about EMEA as well. We have plans to talk about APAC and Japan later on. We were going to talk about Zeta Division in this episode, but they've also... A lot of the other regions have weird playoff formats, or just formats in general. You guys notice that as we're like digging into other stuff? Zeta Division have only played 4 series since Reykjavik. How is that even possible? Like, that's not even a group stage, just like through a bracket. It's really odd. And because they've been running through the upper bracket of Japan, they have like another 2 weeks until they play their next game, or at least another week until they play the next game. So we'll talk about them at some point, but they really have only played against like one of the top teams in Japan. There's still North Eption and Crazy Raccoon that they haven't even faced yet. So we'll talk about those guys later on and kind of get a feel for where they're at.
What? My God.
Let's talk about a new map that we know zero information about.
This is the problem with Plat chat highlighted in this very moment. This is literally the problem.
We discussed prior to the show.
Oh,
Listen, we'll let the people in behind the scenes. We discussed behind the show, should we talk about the new map? And we decided we actually know nothing about it. Literally zero things
all I
about
wanted
it.
to say was a little
So let's do
gag.
it next week.
All I wanted to do was a little gag being like, let's talk about a new map. And you guys were like, well, there's nothing to talk about. And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing to talk
Well,
about.
we still got a gag out of it.
yeah.
Well, you were busy dodging the GTA 5 traffic of Austin, Texas.
Playing
People
Frogger.
the drive. Don't even get me started on fucking drivers in Austin, Texas.
could you
While you
believe
were
it?
dodging them, milk churning around, we were like, let's not talk about the new map. There's no info. Other
I
than
mean,
it's called
what
Pearl,
the new
and
map
it's
is supposed to get
underwater.
unveiled tomorrow? Is it?
Yep.
I think.
I believe so.
So
What are you
we'll
guys
figure it
going
out
to
then?
do when the fucking gimmick is a gulag?
No.
It's not going to be a gulag.
No,
It's
the
not.
gimmick is swimming.
That's what I mean.
telling you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You start off. One person puts on the diving suit. They put away all their gear, and they pick up a harpoon gun. They go underneath, and they go into the 3-dimensional gulag arena, and they have to 1v1 each other. They get one shot with a projectile harpoon.
See, what's so annoying about this?
Is
Brent,
that just the golden gun?
Yeah,
It's just
basically.
the
but it's a
golden gun
projectile.
from GoldenEye.
And it's in 3
Okay,
dimensions.
sure.
So
I
they're
mean,
just
a
going to
bullet's a
reskin the
projectile, too.
snowball
What do
gun.
you mean it's in 3
You're swimming.
dimensions?
You've got a scuba dive kit on, and you have to hit your one harpoon
As
shot.
opposed to the rest of the game that's in 2D. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Bren's been playing Valorant like it's a platform, like it's Mario.
You can swim up and down.
Yeah,
Can't do that.
I know roughly what you
right,
mean.
Yeah, it's like you're no clipping.
The annoying thing about this, though, is you're still keeping up your gulag bit, even when they've announced the 1v1 mode. They've announced there is going to be a 1v1 mode in the game that's going to, it's not going to impact a match, but it's going to be like a dual mode, and you're still just saying they're going to add the gulag into all of their normal maps as well.
This guy has a crazed look on his face.
Dude, the
partly the
mustache
mustache
is such
as well.
an ad.
It really
It's
is.
such an ad to Bren. I love the mustache. I really
I do
I think
too.
it's
What's
a
the thing they
great
do in-
ad to Bren.
Thank you. What's the thing they do in film? There's like insanity, like the Kubrick stare.
Oh, the
stare.
The Kubrick there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look absolutely insane. You're at the peak of your insanity. You really are.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let
you
you
do
host.
look like you're
Yeah.
about to be on a History Channel documentary about how the Loch Ness Monster is real. That is the kind of the energy you're giving off. But
Let's talk North America. I want to dive into North American Valorant right now. Starting with one of the teams that we were excited about last week. Bala was very firmly on the hype train, and then EG lost a phase and ended up being in the 3rd seed, I think, in their
Yeah,
group.
they got knocked
They had
down.
an opportunity if they just beat FaZe to be number 1. They were expected to beat FaZe. FaZe kind of came out, looked pretty good. And now EG are in a bit of a weird position where they've beaten the best team in the world, but they're not consistently beating everybody else. Yeah. So where does this put them in your guys' heads? Because I know Bala in particular, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm going to keep saying it. He said those were the 2 top teams in Group B, and he thought they were actually better than quite a lot of the teams in Group A as well. But I would imagine that this match has changed perspectives a bit.
Bless you.
I think both teams are really
Sorry,
good.
Kurt just sneezed. No one could hear it because his mic wasn't
hear it,
open.
yeah.
And
I
Bren
couldn't
says,
hear it.
bless you. No one can hear Kurt sneeze from the other fucking room.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you're saying, bless you.
No, that was such a tough decision I had to make. I just the polite young lad in me I wanted to say God bless you so bad, but then also I just knew that it wouldn't. But Bren's polite lad energy took over. He just had to say it. It just took over.
This has been a good episode so far. It's been
We
good.
have not told any Valorant. How long have we been live?
EG.
You guys are random. It's true. I like being
EG.
quirky and random, not like other boys.
Evil geniuses, Wyatt. Please talk about the evil geniuses.
I think both teams are really good.
What happened to us today?
I don't know. There might be a gas leak in the blackjack compound, but
Have you got your carbon monoxide detector still? You got batteries in it?
Yeah, we do. We okay. I just think both teams are really good, and in this game, I think that all of the or the majority of like the scrappy buy rounds and some of the close eco rounds that had a large influence on the economy in either direction, FaZe were able to win those rounds, and those are the rounds that swung the game in their favor. I mean, some of the clips here that I sent to Kurt, like this was one early on in the game when FaZe were on defense, and you could see they have a really scrappy buy cobbled together here. And EG are going for this mid pressure. They've taken B main, and then they kind of slow things down and cut noise. And I'm assuming this is poised, the IGL, but they make a good call on FaZe to rotate in the mid round to stack 4 towards B. And things get really scrappy in this orange fight, and then Superman hits a crazy shot here. Baby Bay gets a kill when he was playing back Snowman. He wins this trade duel, and they just win out these scrappy rounds with, you know, a really high level of player skill, and also a nice call from Poise to get the stack on the site. But it was rounds like these that were going their way that I thought made the difference. And a lot of them were really close. They could have gone, you know, either way, but on the day, I think FaZe were winning out those rounds. They were hitting the crucial shots.
And
I thought both teams played really well, honestly. I thought it was just a great game from both teams overall.
One of the things that really impressed me about EG, pistol round win rate, was through the roof. And FaZe's was awful. They came into this game with like 30%
so
win
bad.
rate versus, I can't remember what it was, like 75, 80? I can't remember
80.
exactly.
It's still, I saw the graph yesterday.
It was 83.
It's now like 77% pistol round win rate for EG and 32% for FaZe.
Right. But it was even more one-sided before this game.
Yeah.
And yet EG weren't actually able to win many of them in this series. And so they weren't able to get to the bonus rounds either. And I feel like EG, when they played against LG on Icebox, the biggest thing was they won the pistol, then they cooked up a cool strat for each of the eco swing rounds. And yet in this series, they were having to go from behind, and they didn't have that same like momentum. It felt very momentum-based, their EG series. And this one was much more like even rounds being traded back and forth, and they just never got into a position where they could control the game. They were trying to send people mid a lot, and it really wasn't working that well.
I took this series as well as a bit of a example. I think when we haven't really seen EG playing a game that's under a great amount of pressure with a lot on the line. But this was for number 1 seed.
Yeah.
This was like such a big deal. If you get number 1 seed, you only have to win 2 matches and you make Copenhagen. Like that is, it's a ridiculous advantage you have with seeding in the stage 2 format. And I mean, don't get me wrong, FaZe played a good game. They won the pistol rounds as well. They were coming out with some, I mean, not necessarily cool ideas, but I mean, the players were fucking hitting. They were online with a lot of rounds. But yeah, you didn't see the same EG, I think, that we saw in prior weeks. And I don't know if that was down to them maybe getting in their own heads about what this match actually meant and the importance of it, and maybe that playing a factor on them.
Well, also, that comment is interesting. By the way, we have a poll running right now as well, which is the topic title. Do you think EG are good enough to be able to make a playoff run? Has this game changed your perspective on it? What do you think? Let us know. There's a poll running in the YouTube chat right now. But the comment you made there, Bren, is pretty interesting, which was about what we've seen from EG in the past weeks. Because really, it's just been 2, right? They played 5 matches. 2 of those weeks were pretty spectacular. The win over EG and the win over Optic. Sorry, the win over LG and the win over Optic. The win over Sentinels wasn't that impressive considering where Sentinels are right now. The loss to Cloud9, the loss to FaZe, not particularly impressive, like all right, but not amazing. So what do you think the actual level of this team is? Like, what are we going to get from them in playoffs?
I think this team's still really good, though. I mean, it's clear also when you watch this match, I feel like in particular on Icebox a lot, FaZe, and even Breeze, really, actually across both maps, FaZe had a lot of good answers for what EG, like a lot of their game plans a lot. It was clear, like, I felt like it was pretty clear they'd watched some tape. At least seen some tape here, done in the back rooms, you know? They've done a little bit of tape watching. But I feel like the narrative, too, is that we've been, instead of trying to figure out, like, you know, all the teams are the best. I think I'm going to go to Wyatt's, like, you know, political, like, I'm going to back in my UN room. I have my gooseneck mic. I'm like, all the teams are good. All the nations of the world are quite solid, you know? Because that's what I feel, actually. That's what I feel. I feel that is that all the teams in North America are honestly pretty even across the board.
Yeah,
feels like I don't really, there are favorites, but I don't feel like it would be crazy if I were to see, like, if 100 Thieves were to play, you know, EG, I'd be like, oh, would it be crazy if 100 Thieves lost to them? You know, I would just be like, yeah, you know, like that's life.
Well, I think part of the parity is as well that we're seeing comes down to the format where you get a week to prep for your opponent. I think that helps quite a bit, honestly. Because what I've noticed this time around with North America is the difference maker doesn't come down to, like, mechanical ability. It does sometimes. Sorry, I'm, like, leaning away because if I stand too close, I block off the line of sight of my 2 guests.
That's all right.
So,
I can see Wyatt.
You guys are not allowed to see each other from now on. I'm just going to be here. So, let's don't interact. What the fuck was I saying? Yeah, stage 2. So what I found is watching, the difference maker tends to come down to the layers that teams are adding to their game plan when it comes to, like, cooked up, prepared shit on pistol rounds, cool ideas on bonuses, compositions that they have really good ideas on. I think that's been a difference maker for a lot of teams, and it's been the additional thing that gets them over the finish line against certain teams in matchups. And when teams come into it with that same idea. I mean, I've noticed a lot more counter-strategy this time around is the overall point.
Yeah. Compared to the previous formats where you had, like, brackets where you're not exactly sure who you're going to match up against.
But even in stage 1, I don't think I saw as much counter-strategy. This time around, I think teams have been a lot more prepped and well-versed for what other teams are running.
I think that's reasonable. I think the meta is also much more open than it was in stage 1. There's a lot more things that you can run, and I think that just opens the door to running specific, you know, like defense-sided comms, or running something that particularly counters your opponent, or cooking up some strats. The poll results are in as well. 57% saying EG are good enough to make a deep playoff run. If I had to press you guys to kind of look at where they are in the bracket too, because they finished in the 3rd seed, so they're going to be on the same side of the bracket as the 1st seed in their group, which is Optic. They're also going to be with Ghost. I mean, that is a crazy difficult side of the bracket to make a deep run through in the uppers, at least. Does that adjust your expectations for this team? If we're, you know, still thinking about them as being a good team, but that competition to me seems pretty nasty.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the lower you're starting in this bracket, the worse it's going to be for you, just because of how much parity there is in North America at the moment. Because I honestly, I do not feel comfortable predicting. I mean, I would say Optic are still the favorites to make it to Copenhagen, but in terms of the second team, like, who knows which team is going to be making it through?
We actually have that later on.
Yeah.
Kurt already asked us for the 2 teams we think are going to make it.
I genuinely think EG could end anywhere from, like, 6th to 1st. Like, seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
But also, because when you have a team, though, that's winning 80% of their pistol rounds, that's such an obscene advantage.
It is.
If they can maintain that stat, it's such a
which
crazy
crucially
advantage.
They didn't in the FaZe game, right? That
right,
like
they didn't.
Bit of an
and
outlier
also,
almost.
though, like the rounds I mean, just again, like some of the rounds that they lost in the FaZe game were just, I don't know. It's like, Kurt, could you pull up the beginning of that one last round on Icebox again, the Sheriff round? Like there are rounds like this happening where, like, EG did win the pistol, I believe, and FaZe were up like 9-4, and then they forced, even though they were up 9-4 on the second round, lost. And then the round after, they just have sheriffs and just even just watch the opening here is enough. But it's like Flya just walks up, crazy shot immediately, and then they end up finding a second one for Flya again, and then they rotate back. They have a Viper's pit online, and they end up winning the round. But like, these are the rounds that FaZe that they were winning that completely shifted the way this game was going. I mean, if EG had just won out this anti-eco, the game could have been significantly different because it ended up going to OT and then FaZe winning out. This could have been the one round, Yeah. And that's kind of just how it goes in Valorant sometimes, because you're only playing 13 rounds and the economy is so important, and the pistol rounds are just extremely valuable because of it. I mean, I genuinely think if they can keep that stat up, I think the world is their oyster.
We could take a page
make it
out
all
of
the
that
way to Copenhagen.
We need to take a page out of that book.
Yeah, definitely. For our scrims,
We use the
pistol
don't
rounds.
win the pistol strat.
It was like the only seriously important game this week in North America to define whether or not a team made it to playoffs. NRG played the Guard, and the winner was into playoffs. The loser was out. And the Guard, after winning stage 1 in North America, are now out of the playoffs. They are not going to be involved. They cannot make a return to Copenhagen and redeem themselves for Reykjavik. They are just simply on the outside looking in after getting too much of a slow start to the group stage, honestly. The Guard, I think, were definitely favorites here. I mean, if you looked at any stat, NRG had been playing pretty awfully. They were not winning rounds. They weren't, converting post plans, retakes, like any major statistic you look at, NRG were the worst team in the groups at being successful in those situations, and yet they managed to pull out the win here. What does this say about the Guard, first of all, and their run throughout stage 2? Because we were coming into stage 2 saying, worst case scenario, the Guard should still be like a top 3, top 4 team. Yeah. After winning. And it looked like they would, decline a little bit, and it was a honeymoon run. We knew that, but we still thought they would finish like top 4, top 3.
If you go back to the stats, it's pretty clear what the problem was for the Guard. NRG are taking steroids. You go on Bind, Hayes is putting up these unbelievable numbers. Like Tex as well. Like, these guys absolutely popping off. NRG genuinely having the game of their lives. I mean, this is the map that the Guard ended up winning. I've got a clip as well showcasing some of the stuff that they were doing pretty well. I think one of the things you can always count on with the Guard is their ability to actually think out rounds of how to play them properly. This round 6 was pretty good. Because what happens is, I think it's Jonah P and Net end up just getting hard push. It's clearly going to be a hit onto the site. And instead of fighting incredibly hard to try and push them away, like, NRG are making the play here to just try and take elbow control away from them. But there's just a hard flank with 3 of them coming down from the back. And all Net and Jonah P have to do here is buy time for the flankers to come through. They just absorb all this aggression coming through. Net ends up getting just 1. But eventually they come back through and there's like nobody on the site. NRG end up using their Rolling Thunder as well. They're a very improv-based team. They tend to do actions just in the moment as well and trying to play off of it momentarily. And at least in moments like this where, a little bit of an extra foresight that's put into the round, and Guard end up taking it. But overall, this was just unbelievable from NRG. The second clip on Bind is just, again, an example of it. Hayes had found the fountain of youth. He was absolutely farming. I mean, this is a round that, honestly, the Guard should have won. This is an eco round for them, and this is just sloppy from NRG. They're just facing them when they have marshals and sheriffs on long angles solo. Like, it's just not what you want to do. Ethan doesn't really clear or expect the angle to be watched, even though Net was lurking there most of the rounds. But look at this from Haste. I mean, the guy actually just channels himself when he was 15 years old. He's a teenager. He's playing on the fucking Pentium 3 processor. He's on CS 1.6. And, like, look at this moment. The guy absolutely dominates. Tex as well behind him. He doesn't really do... Oh, wait.
Pentium 3.
Does Tex actually end up... No, this isn't the one where Tex gets a mad clutch. But it is mad. I promise you it will come up eventually. It's just building up the tension of it.
Guys,
it's coming eventually. It's building up the tension.
On.
Yeah, it's building up the tension of it.
Hold.
You've sold me.
Hold.
But this
I'm so
moments like
committed.
this were happening consistently in the series. Just a return to form from all of them, and it's like only just as Valen managed to clutch this one out as well in a 1v1 versus Tex on 5 health. But it was just on a knife's edge the entire time on Bind, the map, which ended up being NRG's pick. But I think for the Guard, where the expectations were so high for them, and they made those role swaps early on as well in the stage, and then had to swap back to the comfort roles, they've just been always playing catch-up from that point on. And they played a newer comp on Haven as well. They started incorporating the Fade into their gameplay, and I didn't think the Fade was that good from them. It wasn't clear. It wasn't as drilled compared to like other comps that they played. That ended up being an actual difference maker as well.
I mean,
Let's see if I have a clip for it.
I think Trent also looked a little less comfortable on it in terms of getting value out of his rifling. I feel like Trent on on Sky, on Haven, finds himself in a lot of situations where he's able to get, he's tucked right behind somebody, he flashes them in, and he's there with the rifle, and he's able to pop some people, or he, uses a flash for himself in a certain situation, and he's able to get 2, maybe 1 just, but it's like a key impact kill to turn the round around. But I didn't see that from him this time, from the Fade. And this was actually the first situation as well that the Guard tried to innovate. So the first 2 weeks, they were doing a lot of innovation with their comps. It all kind of crumbled. It's not even innovation. They were trying to follow the meta in the first 2 weeks and put Jonah P, put Sire on Chamber and put Jonah P on entry. That they tried to follow the meta. It didn't work for them, so they dialed back to their old comps. And this final week was the first time they deviated away from their old comps. And I don't think it worked. I don't think they got the same value from it that they would have done had they just stuck to running the Sky. They didn't look as coordinated.
The defense rounds as well on Haven were just not. They just weren't the same on the second half there. I didn't bring any clips out for that one. Well, I mean, actually, round 18 is just a bit of papegerie. You can pull that one up on Haven. That's like, I don't understand how Ethan lives here, but I think, again, just more credit to it that literally NRG, I don't know what it was. They sold their souls to this series. They're playing so well. I don't know how they don't get cleared out. When they get on op in Sire's players' hands, this is when the series honestly looked like it might have been turning around, because Sire player was getting some consistent value with it. He's finding a pick here and there. This is the weirdest push by NRG that I've seen in a while. Like, the Cosmic Divide is up, but they are so tentative when they're trying to take this site. They are so tentative. And the Guard are just ready to counteract it. They've got all of their own ultimates as well for the retake. But just watch Ethan here. Like, I don't understand how he survives in this situation. He's getting nightfalled. The Prowlers on him. The Rolling Thunders on him. The entire world is upon him. The Cosmic Divide, he's full blind, and yet he still doesn't get cleared in this corner. And in fact, he gets another kill with his Aftershock as well. And this is the moments of hesitation, the slight just uncomfortableness that you can sense from the Guard running this comp with their retakes was a big factor, I think, in this series overall, and just not being able to just clear out that 1 or 2 players. Because the most dangerous aspect about NRG as a team, I find time and time again, is you leave one of them alive, you never know if they're going to get like just a 2K, 3K, and just turn around just completely. It happens so often when you watch NRG, and I mean, it was a clear difference maker, I think. They're the kind of team that are going to punish you and drive a wedge into any weaknesses that they find.
So, talk to me, though, about the Guard reframing the Guard's story of 2022. They have tons of points. They possibly might make it to champions off the back of their Reykjavik points. If both of the NA teams, if Optic makes it and then the other NA team just bombs out immediately, there's a chance, I believe, that the Guard's points, those 220, might be good enough. I don't actually know what the points look like for Masters 2, but I imagine just turning up doesn't give you 220 points.
It'll give you 200, probably.
Would it? Because those 200 are for making it to the top 8.
To the top 8, though. Yeah, they made it through because they were automatically placed in the bracket.
Exactly. So I think, I haven't looked this up, so I might be wrong, but I think if, like, let's say Ghost, right? Ghost are there. If Optic Ghost make it to Copenhagen, but Ghost bomb out at the very beginning, they might only get like 150 points for that, let's say. So they end with 100, that would be it, actually, wouldn't it? That would just be 180 or fucking 185. Doing maths, terrible idea.
150 plus 35, Josh.
Well, I was wondering whether or not you add the 35 to it, because, listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But anyway, they would end behind them. So there is a chance that the Guard make it to champions off the back of their Masters 1 points. Yes. I don't think that's likely, though, because the NA teams are looking fairly good to make some sort of run.
Yeah.
But how does this reframe the Guards story for this year? Do you think it's reasonable to call it, a fluke that they won in stage 1? Are you expecting them, this core, this team, to, if they have to play through LCQ, are they still the favorites to make it through an LCQ or something? Like, how do you think about the Guard now that they've had incredible highs and then incredible lows straight afterwards?
I mean, I think the low period was really just, was it like, I mean, I unless you want to factor in like the energy loss, but it was really just the couple weeks where they tried to reform the roles to fit the meta, and it didn't work as they thought it would. And then they switched things back and started looking better. I mean, this loss against Gen.G was unfortunate, but, had they have run the same roles the whole time, who knows what would have happened. I mean, I think in the week 1 game when they lost 100 Thieves, I still think they would have lost that, honestly. I think 100 Thieves were pretty elite in that game. And then when they played Ghosts in week 2, they still got a map off them, and Haven was a blowout, and it probably still would have been because Ghosts were so good on it. But, they got a map off them with the weird roles. I think at that point, Ghosts were still, they were heating up to where we're seeing them at now. And maybe that's a game they win, I think it's possible. But
they're still not clear favorites, even in those games.
I don't think that, I don't think they're clear favorites. I think that a lot of other teams are really good right now, and they have a few things to, they have some stuff to figure out. But I feel like they're kind of on the edge of being really good. They just have to iron out a few things, such as, I like I think, Jesus Christ, what's his name? Trent should be playing Fade. Who Megalo? Dude, I think Trent should be playing Fade. I just don't think that they had all of the ideas with it yet, but I think those are the kind of things that they should be working into the team. And I still think they can be really good. I think all of the players also had their moments this stage. Net really heated up at the end. Valen really heated up at the end. Unfortunately, I think Saya was on fire in the games that they were losing early on, and then wasn't amazing against Xset. When they barely lost against Xset too, with Saya having the worst game he's had all year. I mean, they were almost there. It really was within their grasp, I think.
Moments like this, though, when you're watching them just peek into EU one at a time. And listen, EU hit some nasty shots, but he should always have been traded out after getting 2 or 3 there. There is no world in which he should have been allowed to get all 5. It's a great read on Trent towards the end as well, but the trades just completely missed. They were not there. But it feels like the Guard have missed that focus, that like the confidence to swing for each other, to make the play, to hit the shots. They're missing the magical moments that drove them to their success in stage 1, it feels.
Yeah, I think they are missing that at times, but I think also, I mean, you would hope for it with a comp like this and on a map like this that it would be there in those situations, and that is a problem. But I think on in the other situations where that came up, it was just from uncomfortability. Like the Trent Fade, I think you're probably right. Joshua is like less comfortable with that on Haven, or looked to be, because whenever he was back on Sova, they were winning those maps and he was playing great. I think it's just a matter of
comfort and time.
Getting that on the other agents. I really think it was within their grasp, though. Genuinely, I know they didn't make it into the top 8, and it looks bad, but I swear they were right there. They lost to Xset barely, with Saya having the one bad game.
Did they become the old NRG? The best 1-4 team that we've seen. Yeah. Like NRG in stage 1, they had so many close games, and it was like, they could have made it. Like, this feels the same thing, where it's like, they're 1-4. They actually could have made playoffs pretty easily.
I think this team did just need a little bit more time that they didn't have in the groups. Like 1 and 2, when they're trying to apply the kind of quote unquote meta. If off the back of Copenhagen, they now realize with the points that they have made it as a lock for champs, I think that with enough time, that team will be ready again. Genuinely. I don't think it will be a wasted slot. I don't think it will be like people will be saying, "Oh fuck, this team should have gone." I think with enough time, they'll be up there again. I'm hoping it won't be like a kind of slouching Sentinel situation, where they just kind of peter out after the
I don't think so, because I really think all the players had good moments throughout this stage. Sure. I think they still had flashes of what we saw on stage 1. It's just a matter of doing it with the consistency again. I think they can.
The roster's just so young too. What's up, Josh? What's up?
Sorry, no, go on. The roster's young.
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the roster is like literally the roster. They should be there. They need to be practicing their SAT vocab words and shit. Like not just like on pure like age, but also like when you think about the overall experience factor and how long the team's been together and the success they've already had so far in stage 1. Like one rough stage where they barely missed out on top 8, like with like multiple instances of them almost making it. I don't think it's time to like call it quits, to shut it down on this roster, right? It's way too early to call it. Now, if you maybe have if it continues to perform at the points where you just can't get consistent wins, then yeah, maybe you look into, and you can't adapt to the meta, like it look comfortable on the fade and like some of the new evolving like agents and things like that, then yeah, sure, you make some changes. But it's too early, and the team had too much success early on too to, I feel like, be insanely critical of the roster yet.
There was another sick game in North America. It was Ghost playing against 100 Thieves. Both two teams that beat the guard on their run through, and Ghost were playing. They couldn't get first seed in this game, Ghost, because they'd already lost the head-to-head against Xset. But what they could do is deny 100 Thieves the first seed and push them down to third. So there was a lot on the line there in terms of like
literally
swing factor for 100 Thieves. But yeah, they kind of trolled them. And Ghost get the second seed in their group as well, which gives them a
troll to spare.
Honestly, Ghost ended up getting the worst side of the bracket, I would argue, because they're on the same side with Optic and to some extent EG too. So this side of the bracket looks harder to me for Ghost to be able to make it to like upper finals, because they have to make it through.
Should have thrown.
The Reykjavik winners, but they didn't know whether or not Optic would be first seed, I suppose, because that Optic LG game happened afterwards. Ghost though did end up winning this game, and I've used the word smack here because I thought it was fairly one-sided.
No, it's because you hate 100 Thieves.
That's true.
You also hate 100 Thieves. That's the problem.
True. That's
so
true.
That's the real.
I went to Dallas and I met up with Mike, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to get a drink?" And I just said, "Fuck you," and ran away. But I deliberately asked him to meet up with me so I could say it to him in person.
You were just so belligerent, though, probably being Dallas from your overall state of drunkenness, that it's very possible that did actually happen.
No, that was the day that I was still hungover at 7 p.m. So I was actually just a shell of a human that day. But yeah, so Ghost ended up winning here fairly comfortably, and to start things off on Breeze, they just won every retake. Look at that. Breeze to begin.
I mean, not only did they win every retake, but also the restaurateur differential. The restaurateur differential. The restaurateur differential.
Yeah.
I just want you to bring up round 2, Kurt. Stage. I just want you to bring up round 2 of this match, and Nismo's classic actually his classic works differently.
Yeah.
I mean, like this. Bang posted this clip on Twitter. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, it's just crazy. And it kind of set the pace, I think, from then on out. I mean, Bang also had the 1v5 ace in this match as well, but Nismo was just in control, and Ghost was in control on Breeze. They felt extremely in control there.
Yeah, I got confused there at the beginning, but it was, this first half was 100 Thieves winning a lot of the retakes, and they actually, I thought they started off looking good on the defense side. But the story to me of this this match was that 100 Thieves couldn't get the same value out of their attack that they've been able to against every other team. They were really getting destroyed as they tried to enter sites, get into good post plants. Ghost just kind of rolled them around. Because honestly, if you think about Breeze, like this first half was pretty good from 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
They just let Ghost into the sites, they ran retakes on them, and fast flanked. It was really successful.
I actually don't think either of these teams had like particularly successful attack halves. But their defenses on both maps were really, really good. Overall. So like I think overall, like this when you watch Ghost, they were just they had a really unsuccessful attack half, but their defense, they also executed really well on their retakes. They also executed really well on just having like very strong fundamental trades while Nismo was popping. I mean, if you bring up like round 10, Kurt, or even round 9 and round 10 just in quick succession, like as I watched this series, both on Breeze and Icebox, it felt like both the teams were far better on defense than they were attack. Both squads. It's just Ghost was able to get more value overall from their attack half.
I mean,
yeah, it's just nice.
So
they're clean. Their fundamentals are great. So
the Ghost's firepower on Breeze is just not fair. It's like it's simply not fair when you have like the Nismo KO entry, and then you get Koala Noob on Jett, and then it's one of the maps where you get John Cutie playing Chamber. Yep. And then you have Brock and Proto Anchor. It's just not fair. It's actually
so silly.
Unfair.
What is that?
But it was still a respectable effort from Thieves. They kept it really close on Breeze, and Stellar was having some good moments on this map, but Icebox was just
destruction.
I also want to highlight round 17 as well for this map. Like round 17, when you think about like how teams could not attack. Like go after this clip, Kurt, go to round 17 and watch how 100 Thieves, like, because one thing that Ghost does really, really well as well is the Nismo's knives get insane value for them a lot, just from info gathering, like stopping hits. It happens over and over and over again where the amount of value they get from Nismo, and I think like it was just evident on that round where they were stacking up in caves, trying to hit A site. They had already like they'd gone to a little bit of early map, like looking around at mid. And then they're getting ready to exec, and they all get hit by a knife, cancels the exec. They know they're all here, and this is also a eco for Ghost. And they're like, oh shit, now we're gonna run around a bit, hoping to like look for some picks and find anything. And they run out of time, have to fast hit the site, get rolled with util coming here through double doors, and then they lose the round. And it is a tragedy. It is a tragedy off the knife. And then, yeah, here it comes. Here it comes. Watching. Viewing. So this is so sad. They had 12 seconds. 12 seconds remaining, and then they lose the round. I mean, that knife just ruined it. Literally just ruined their push. Yeah. You know, and that happened, like, I feel like this was, like, just neither of these teams had, like, extremely successful attack halves in either map. So it's just very strong defensive
100 Thieves just insane at the retakes, and Ghost have, I think, really well thought out defensive protocols.
Yeah, I mean, normally
play their players.
Normally Ghost play a ton of retakes for like super successful on them as well, but it went in a bit of the opposite direction there. But yeah, Icebox was like mad good for Ghost, and it's making me think about their map pool in general and what are the weak maps for Ghost? Like where
I mean,
a lot of teams when they go on a bit of a run. You think, oh, they're excellent at this map, and that's it. Like, you think about them as being, you know, a 2-map team or a 3-map team, something like that. Sure. But Ghost just look nasty almost across the board on the maps that they're allowing to play.
I mean, I don't know if the ADR numbers are wrong, but 254 ADR playing Viper is, that's outlandish.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
That is outlandish.
He's good. I mean, I still think Brock is clutch as fuck, though. Brock... Like, that dude, he is so clutch. He's ridiculously watching Brock play. I think that, like, that is... And obviously, Proto was very, very good this series, but I was, like, insanely impressed still by Brock. And even, like, moments like this, where there's, once again, just knife value, where we missed the clip here a little bit, but, like, right before that happened to set up the ult, the knife came down and found that all of 100 Thieves were stacking up, and then there's just an immediate ult.
Always gotta be careful of that.
Like, boxed in. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's just nice. It's good
Bren's
shit.
speaking from experience because we've been scrimming Icebox recently, and we've been getting dominated by that exact same play because we're just brainlets.
I'm not into CBT, and I'm definitely not into it. Now I know for a fact after playing Sova on Icebox with these chuckleheads.
Chuckleheads. Well, you're gonna start saying like scout voice lines, like, bonk, just running around and stuff.
Ghost, having won this game, so here's my question, and Kurt, if you would, I'd like to ask the people this as well.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. You don't even know what my question is.
Yeah,
I was not even going to give you a yes or no question.
I know what the question is.
Okay, my question is, do you have more faith in Ghost or Xset to make a run?
Yes. That's the answer.
I have my
Do you
answer.
have more
I
faith
have my
in
answer.
Ghost or Xset to make a run in the playoffs? The reason that I asked that question is Ghost to me look like the more exciting team right now, the better team, maybe I would even argue.
Yeah.
But Xset got the win over them earlier on in the stage when Ghost hadn't heated up as much. Xset win the head-to-head. They finish with the same record, but Xset take first seed. That puts them ahead in the bracket. So Xset only need to win 2 games, and they're through to Copenhagen. For Ghost, they have to battle through EG, through Optic, maybe if they lose one of those games through the lower bracket. So it is tougher for Ghost to make it through compared to Xset. But to me, right now, I feel like Ghost are the better team.
Well,
So
Kurt,
I'm interested to know what you think in terms of which team is more likely to make a run.
I would say Xset.
Kurt, could you pull up that Ghost Exec game, please? I just want to have that on screen because I want to remember the maps that were in there. But go on, Bren.
Yeah, I think it would be Xset. Just purely off the basis of we're now moving into. So the point I was saying earlier, I was kind of setting up for the 20-minute later slam dunk of the format being like week on week, you can prep for specific opponents that you know you're going to get for every single week of the groups. But in the tournament system, there's a slight gap, I think, in between some portion of the playoffs. But overall, you have to play. If you start at the very beginning, you have to play multiple matches day after the other. And that does harm, I think, a lot of teams who have been finding the edge through the, not necessarily counter-striding, but the just their prep work that they've been putting in.
And you think Ghost are one of those prep-heavy teams?
Ghost of the definition of Patrick Bateman American Psycho enthusiasts. They are fucking. They just grind like nutcases. These guys are grinders behind the scenes. They are always scrimming. They put in so much work compared to a lot of other teams.
I mean, not even that, but Nismo. Did you see the tweet of Nismo looking at DDK's social media to find out where Will was holding his nade?
This is fucking insane.
Did you guys see that?
I mean, that is actually Sigma Male grind set Patrick Bateman meme.
So in this map, on this map, they Ghost. Okay, so DDK was tweeting out a picture of him, like selfie style.
Excited for the Ghost game.
Excited for the game. Our players are warming up. And it's in the background. You can barely see it, but the players are scrimming Icebox.
It was Koala. I think Koala Noob posted it.
Yeah, I think Koala Noob tweeted it out.
Okay,
and it's a Discord screenshot of Nismo sending him a zoomed-in, enhanced version of that picture.
Like full bright image from that picture. And it was just of Will holding a nade.
And Nismo's like, he does his nade lineup from there, bro. I'm going to flash him.
Yeah. Like the counter shot. This is like just before their game. This team, they are insane. They are absolutely insane.
I mean, that's an insane anecdote.
I do think that if you just inherently, the Xset are starting much later in terms of the bracket, and that it does give them a big edge. This is it here. Look at this. By the way, Nismo, restaurant owner, father, anime girl profile picture.
Yeah, that's surprising. Nismo never struck me as the anime profile picture.
Yeah. And look at this.
Yeah.
So that is a cropped photo from DDK's social media. And he zoomed in on a mountain you can barely see. He knows that that's Icebox from the context clues of other people's screens as well. And he can see the nade. And he's like, this is where he throws his nade from on the retake. I'm going to flash through the wall. So they did that. Nismo did that a bunch of times, and it worked. But it's just so bonkers to be trawling through your opponent's socials to find an edge in the game like that.
Yeah, that is insane. It's insanity.
It's time to go full CIA black site in the 100 Thieves compound. No information can come out. No information can go in. It is just that they've sealed it off. They've added a Faraday cage around the building.
But your point, though, Bren, is that you believe in Xset more because you think Ghost are getting value from the week break in between each of the games.
They're getting great value. No, don't get me wrong. The players are insane, and they could absolutely like this playoffs is the hardest to call for me ever out of any Valorant tournament, and we were at Reykjavik.
20 years of the NBA.
In my 20 years of being here at the NBA. This is one of the hardest. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
You sound more like a football commentator that's had head trauma.
Actual persona that I'm developing live on the fly. My stand-up routine.
Here's my thing. Here's my first take sports debate point.
Yep.
Okay, but by using your same logic, I would say that since Ghost spends so much time in the lab cooking up their own plays, coming into like Haven with that, they came in with that the Fade Astra comp and had so much shit cooked up with that, the team that teams weren't expecting, they destroyed the guard with that. If they're bringing in stuff like that, other teams won't have time to prep against them either. And they look so well regimented, bringing in their new comps that other teams won't be prepared for it. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. But also, if you start later in the bracket, you can also do that, except you have more time, and people won't see you pull it out in your first game. You can just save it until you get to watch the match, you get to see how that team's playing, and you get to then pull out you have an additional day to pull out prep shit for that matchup. So XSET just inherently, this is why seeding was so important. We were like stressing it the entire 5 weeks of the groups.
Yeah.
This is the reason why. Because
it is an advantage.
You literally start in this upper bracket, these upper semis. You can watch that FaZe Clan 100 Thieves match if you're of your XSET. You get to watch which team is going to be winning off the back of it.
You have 2 days to prep.
And then you have 2 days to prep. 2 days to prep that. Yeah. A full day off in between to watch and also cook up your own prepped stuff that they are not going to have VOD footage for. No. It's a massive advantage for you. It's not a huge amount of time, but you can still do it. And so that's why I say XSET should be favored in terms of being able to make that run in playoffs just inherently because of the position they're in.
If XSET win one game, if they win that upper game to begin against either FaZe or 100 Thieves, they've made top 3. That's the first time that they've managed to break through that barrier. If they can win the upper final, they are on the podium.
They're coming
There's no shot.
Well,
There's no way.
The people at home think they're coming 4th. Over two thirds of our audience were voting for Ghost over XSET, and only like 31% saying XSET are going to make a run.
Based.
I mean, the history books say XSET finishes 4th, but they'd have to lose that upper game, win one of the lower games, and lose again. They'd have to loss in order to finish 4th.
Counterpoint. Nismo is the best player of the stage. They're going to make it further than XSET.
I mean,
but they'd have to go through EG.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Optic.
Or maybe Optic. They could lose to Optic and make a run in the lowers.
Yeah,
I'm fine with both the situations, and at the end of the day, I just have Ghost excited. I've already made this pub. This has something to do with the players or the staff on XSET. The team bores me, and thus Ghost. I like
every time.
The team bores me
every fucking time.
You're like an emperor watching gladiators battle, and you're just no. I realize that you slaughtered the lion, and yet you bore me. Kill the gladiator.
The restaurateur angle is the most exciting angle of Valorant yet. And the Ghost, and also Wyatt's right. These both just had a fucking incredible stage. They look really good. I am in the Church of Brock. I'm worshiping at the altar of Brock all the time. And I overall feel really confident.
Cryo went crazy in playoffs stage 1. Cryo really leveled up in the playoffs last time.
The problem is I've already have a backup battery of boredom left over from XSET. So even when Cryo pops up,
BCJ's been playing some of the best Valorant he's played in a while. Like the XSET are looking, I don't know. I think how good the rest of North America is, people get blinded a little bit, and they fail to see that.
I mean, I think it's also the history. I think people are worried about getting excited about XSET for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about some of the bad teams, or at least one of the bad teams. I know they're not making playoffs, but I want to talk about it a little bit here because Cloud9 had a really rough showing in stage 2, and I feel like people haven't really discussed it too much in the same way that they have with Sentinels or the Guard, but Cloud9 have shit the bed, kind of, in stage 2. They were... Where did we rank them? Did we rank them 4th or something coming into this stage?
Pretty high up.
I think we had them pretty high.
Yeah, we had them pretty high. I think we had, like, Optic, and then... We might have even had them 2nd.
Yeah, I think we had them 2nd.
We might have even had them power ranked 2nd. They finish barely in the top 10, but their 2 wins are over EG, which they did with their old roster before they got rid of Zeta. Yeah. And then they absolutely clapped Sentinels this week. And I know Sentinels are Sentinels, but Cloud9 looked like...
Laugh at my misery.
They looked like they were back a little bit in that game.
I was confused. Was it crying as like, are you role-playing as a Sentinels fan, or are you role-playing as a Cloud9 fan? Like you're crying of joy to watch them back.
Role-playing? I'm a Tens fan. I was crying.
Okay, I don't want to talk about Sentinels, please. Please, I don't want to talk about Sentinels.
But what do you think they should do if they make should Raucus stay in the starting
I don't want to talk about Sentinels. I don't want to talk about them.
But what if they make LCQ? What are they going to do with the roster?
Yeah.
What are the roles they should be playing?
It was so sad when Shaz died to the dog.
I knew this was a mistake. I knew this was a mistake. Do you? So Cloud9 a lock for LCQ.
The answer is yes.
The answer of should we be excited for them at LCQ?
Yes, absolutely. I think that week proved that all they needed was a bit of time with this roster as well.
It was against Sentinels.
Yeah, but Sentinels are also. I think Sentinels played. No, I'm not going to say some of the best Valorant players.
I mean, you're crazy. You're crazy.
Listen,
they played FaZe kind of close the week before.
They did play FaZe kind of close. But I think Cloud9 came into this with something to prove. There was no tomfoolery. They had good setups. They had...
Leaf back on Jett.
Yeah, I mean, good setups, good ideas in terms of the comps they wanted to run, and also just they were popping the fuck off. And for the first time, it felt like, you know, you could really see Curry was starting to get integrated into this roster a little bit. And it wasn't just kind of like, oh, a misstep here, a misstep there. It was starting to look cohesive. And so off the back of that, I watched this and I was like, they're probably going to be, I mean, listen, they're probably a lock for LCQ, just on the amount of points that they've got. I think they're the third team in NA right now.
Something like that, yeah.
So they're probably a lock.
They have to be.
With extra time, this team could be super dangerous in LCQ. We could have another top team in North America again. We could have Cloud9 getting back up to similar form of what we kind of expected from them, which is dope, I think.
Version 1 always only perform between the months of March and April. Cloud9 always only perform for LCQ. Is this the seasonal narrative about to be born for North America?
I think it's... Yeah, I think... They just made some good decisions as to putting players on different roles. I mean,
please keep Vanity on Smokes.
Vanity being on Smokes is important. I think Mitch being on Chamber is a good idea because you can just have him be the AWPer and you can just have Leaf be your entry rifleman on Jett again or Raze, which I think is great. And then you can, you know, and Zeppa always looks good on the Sky, and Curry was playing a lot of initiators when he was with D1. I think it makes sense. I think it's just good roles, make sense. I think, you know, they kind of tried to do the same. I feel like they kind of just had the same stage as the Guard in a way. Both teams tried to adjust a little bit to the Chamber era, and they had Leaf playing a lot of the Chamber, and I think that it just, those roles, the way the team was formed or how they were able to play with those roles, it just wasn't as good as they were previously. Because I think, you know, when Leaf is able to take the fights and entry and play really aggressive, like on the Jett and on the Raze, it's, you know, when he's at his best. And then now also you get probably more, you know, it looked like in that game, you get more fragging out of Mitch because he gets to play Chamber and he gets to AWP a lot, and he's really good on it. So everybody's really good at AWPing, you know. I mean, I just think it was good. Good changes in regards to that, and
Cloud9 or the Guard for LCQ.
Right.
Cloud9 or the Guard for LCQ.
Making champs, so
unlikely. The Guard are making champs based on their current points, but possible. But if they both ended up in LCQ, who would you back? You can't. Well, you actually won't see them until LCQ as well. That's the mad thing. It's not like when we get closer to LCQ, we'll have a better idea and be able to pred it better, unless they play in some tier 2 tournaments.
Oh, yeah, hopefully they both play in the Knights weekly.
I would actually like to see that. I mean, Cloud9 used to do that though. They used to fucking grind all of the small tournaments and look nasty in them.
They might do that again.
Or maybe they'll do that again. But if we're under the assumption that they don't, and it's just they go dark until LCQ.
I think, that was.
Who would you have more faith in, C9 or the Guard?
Doing?
I'm feeling C9 with their role swaps. I think I feel like if they had continued on with their current iteration, I wouldn't feel as confident. What with their most recent role swaps, I'm feeling the thing about the Guard still is that they're still it still feels like they're very reliant on the Saya player moment, right? Not that C9 isn't necessarily with Leaf, but I don't know. It seems like oftentimes we're waiting for the Guard for players to activate, and hopefully we achieve the right sequence of player activation to have victory for the Guard. While C9 with their current roles feels a little bit more well-rounded, where I'm not hoping that Leaf just hyper pounds, where you can like win. So I just feel more confident about C9. I also think they're just a less young overall roster. They're just more seasoned across the board. So I'm just feeling confident. C9, I think.
Okay.
I would say the Guard have potential for higher peaks, personally.
I mean, they have peaked higher in the past with their winning.
But from their current stage to now, I would say it's more likely that the Guard end up peaking higher than Cloud9.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the quality of the players, I think.
Sure.
On a pound for pound basis, the Guard have got players that can match Cloud9's. I think across the board. I need somebody to realign my spine. I'm like leaning. I'm like absolute Redgar posturing this setup.
Oh, I think both teams are going to be really good again at LCQ, but maybe slight edge to C9. I think both teams are going to be really good though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the people. Listen, we didn't ask the people whether or not it was C9 or Guard. We asked the people, will Cloud9 bounce back at LCQ? And 60% saying Cloud9 will. So still a lot of Cloud9 hope, despite the fact that they've had a really rough stage 2 where they missed the mark pretty extensively. Let's go into North American playoff predictions. So we have these opening games to predict, and then the bracket's going to go haywire after that. So we're going to do the pick'ems first in terms of, those opening games. But we need to start with last week's predictions because, oh my God, it's been 2 weeks of failures.
Bad. It's been so bad.
It's just been comical.
What are the stats on this?
Oh my God.
Dude, that's crazy.
Europe,
I mean,
they left.
the craziest part too is that, we have, since we have 2 podcasts technically, everywhere else it's like, whatever, it's quaint. The Valorant community has been straight clowning this podcast over the predictions. Like, people are just like, pack it up, go home. Orgs, I think at this point, every org has hired a dedicated junior social media manager to sit there and wait for the Preds to come out so they can make content around this. Like, it's crazy how much this has turned into the meme.
I mean, it's
okay.
simply absurd. It really is.
Should these guys even be analysts?
We can flip places and I'll go to Overwatch because my Alpreds were 85% accurate.
Things got switched around. Josh actually has 63 and Bren has 56%.
Oh, dude, pop it off. But my Preds for last week were still 4 and 8.
Hey, Bren.
Yeah, my Preds for last week were 4 and 8, and I just predicted the favorite.
Yeah.
At least as far as I can remember,
That's what
I think I just predicted the favorite all week.
6 and 6 though.
No, you were 6 and 6. I'm 4 and 8, but these numbers, the stats got mixed up. The overall stats got mixed up, but last week's was accurate.
Okay, I'm still better than a coin flip. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, you were the only one that was a coin flip this week. Everyone else was in the doldrums. Okay, how did the viewers do? We gave the viewers a very difficult match to predict. Did you win?
No, Timmy.
2 and 5.
Dude, Timmy. Oh,
God, we all suck. We all suck. Leaf's right. We should just axe this segment. Get rid of it. Stop doing the Preds. But also, let's do some more Preds.
I love the clout. Keep it rolling.
Well, we have some big games, and I think, let's be real, we don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs. We just don't. And we're going to predict anyway, and we're going to be wrong, and you're all going to clown on us. But I want to say from the off, we don't know what the fuck's going on in the playoffs. So let's start.
I know.
No, you don't.
I don't know what's going on in my own life. I don't know what I'm going to eat for lunch. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I might do yoga after this.
Dude, wait. Before we, I just want to say, when you think about existential things going on in your own life. Actually, you know what? Let's save this for the Prince Player of the Week. Let's move on.
I don't have. We're not on my Player of the Week. This is the wrong show.
No. I'm gonna save this for that segment for a future Prince Player of the Week for the other podcast. So let's move on with this segment. Actually, I don't want to put you out
cooking
there.
up material, workshopping something.
Yeah. If I put up this energy too early,
Connor's just got a bit that he's saving for next Tuesday. All right, let's move on to the game of the next game coming up. Then it's FaZe Clan playing against 100.
And change mine.
We've gone and done it.
I put FaZe initially and I switched it, and now I don't want to have switched it anymore.
No.
So you're telling me you want to switch it to break the curse?
I put FaZe initially.
You know the problem is
I
if you go
changed it.
FaZe, 100 Thieves are going to win. If you stay with 100 Thieves, FaZe are going to win.
The power is in my hands. I control the universe. Switch me to FaZe.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh.
Switch me to FaZe.
And also, I don't want to see any fucking clout chasers screenshotting the pre-image before we swapped. I saw that last week.
Yeah,
that's
people were
cheating.
trying to discredit Ball's Gigabrain Navi pick.
That's cheating.
And that is
You're not allowed to
cheating.
do that before when we change the price.
I did genuinely put FaZe initially because Dude, I don't fucking know. Both these teams are really good. If FaZe look great right now, 100 Thieves have looked pretty awesome. They lost to Ghost, but I think Ghost look amazing.
I mean, by the way,
dude, I don't fucking know. I think
what
both
a
teams are
comeback!
great.
What a comeback from FaZe. They were down 0-2 in groups. They win the next 3 games back to back to back and finish in 2nd seed in their group. I mean, that's monumentous.
They look great. I think they really fixed a lot of their problems, and they're bringing in the Neon. They've integrated that heavily, and it's been great. Baby Bay's Neon, he's just peepo running, and they're flashing for him.
The Neon's been very good.
Just
Gets a ton of support.
Gets a kill here, and then he runs away. It's great. So, I mean, I genuinely, I had FaZe first, and then I switched, and now seeing that everyone won 100 Thieves, I don't want to be a part of this, so I'm going to go back to FaZe. I do really think they could win. I feel like this is just, both teams are great.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we've broken the ancient curse, let's move on to the next game and see if we can do it again. This next one, Ghost against EG. Oh, and we already do not have the curse. So it's only Bren going for EG and the other 3 with Ghost Gaming. Bren, talk to me about EG. They just lost to FaZe this week.
Yep. I think the normal response would be to go to Ghost because they look so strong against 100 Thieves. But I think it was a bit of an underperformance for EG versus FaZe. And I'm hoping that they're able to turn it around for this week as well. They didn't have the usual pistol round win rates. Like FaZe were winning a lot of pistol rounds versus them. They didn't look as good in terms of just, I think, the individual moments that you saw from some of them. Like, we saw some insane crazy shit from Jorgamo and Boostio at various points when they ended up beating, what was it, like Optic and and who was the other team that was like kind of an upset? Wasn't really an upset.
LG.
Yeah, LG. I mean, yeah, I think at that point they might have been favored. But I'm expecting new week, new turnaround. I mean, actually, not as much time as before in terms of how much you can prep for. Ghost Gaming's game was on Sunday, right? It was a Saturday game actually, right? Pretty sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The last
it was.
game.
I think it was Saturday.
I'm trying to think in terms of just time to prep for. Yeah, it was a Saturday. Okay, well, that point just kind of fell through.
I mean, 1 day difference is not going to make...
But the games start earlier. It's a Thursday start.
Sure, so I guess they have like a couple days less than they usually would.
A day less in terms of prep. And for such a prep-based team, a prep-heavy team like Ghosts, for the grinders, for the Patrick Bateman enthusiasts, I think that one less day might be the difference maker in this one. And there's so much parity between North America at the moment. Like, literally, fucking anything could happen. Who knows?
They're going to play Icebox. Nismo's going to play KO, and he's going to get like 3 kills on entry every attack round. That's what's going to happen.
He might.
It's inevitable.
Yep. I'd love to see these 2 teams playing on ACEND. I'm not sure whether Ghost are going to allow it to get there, but the triple initiator comp that EG have been playing versus the Ghost comp that was really about attacking the choke points with the fade would be very fun to watch. All right, so we haven't cursed anybody yet.
Nope.
That's
You
madness.
say yet, as in...
That's well, there's EU pick'ems later on, and
He's got no clout. I don't give a fuck about cursing them. They ain't got never know.
Oh no,
Offer
you're gonna post it and get like 40 likes. Oh.
all right, let's do some bold predictions. It's bold predictions time. Kurt has asked us each to nominate 2 teams that we think are going to make it to Copenhagen, and one of them has to be a guarantee. One of them has to be, boom, putting your house on the line. This team
one
makes
of them
it.
is the favorite. The other one is bold.
Could make it. Yeah.
The other one's the bold one.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, Josh.
All right.
That's what when people say the word bold, what comes to mind?
Me, I'm bold.
I didn't mean like that.
All right, here's the bold predictions then. So 3 of us have gone with Optic as our guaranteed put your house on it. They're making it to Copenhagen. Mm-hmm. I want to start there, though, because Wyatt's gone with Ghost Gaming and hasn't even predied Optic to make it to Denmark.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say for yourself? Just a sad little yeah? Where's the belief?
No, it's not sad.
FNS is going to look at this and he's going to take it internally and he's going to mold and it's going to make him call like a god.
Exactly. There's nothing that will inspire FNS more than some one guy saying that they're not good. FNS he's actually fucking Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, like making up that he just like if like one guy says something, that will fuel him to win another tournament for NA, which is why I haven't put Optic on mine.
Okay.
I haven't put him on there because that means Optic will go and they will win again, and NA will remain on top.
Thank you for your sacrifice, making
Also-
sure that NA will win.
Also, most importantly, Ghost have Nisma, okay? And
You think he's the best player in stage 2?
he is the best player in the stage, yeah. He absolutely is. And also, I mean, the whole... Okay, Ghost, I feel... Ghost, just it would be easier to try and tell me what they don't have. What do they not have? I mean, they've got the star entry. They've got a star clutch. They have a great AWPer. They come in with the new comps that look regimented.
Yeah.
They counter strike. They do everything. Their map pools.
They do everything.
They got it all.
Yeah.
I don't know. They got it all. They're in form. Everything's hitting. They're just try hitting a proto site. He's gonna get like 2 every time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason that
feel
I
like
have
they
them
just
in here
got
as
it
well.
all. I don't know. Dude, they got it all. They're the team of this stage for me.
Do you think they're going to win the game against Optic, that potential upper semi? You have
I
them
think they
favored to
can.
make it through the uppers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think they could.
I think they definitely could.
I think it'd be a great game. Yeah, I think I just have too much belief in Optic. I think the resurgence against LG was really good. I think they're going to steal EG's comps. I think they're going to steal... They've already stolen the like DRX triple initiator ascent comp that EG were running. Now Optic are running it as well. I think it's quite likely that Optic take EG's bind comp as well and play solo smokes, and FNS moves over to Fade because that's what FNS was playing on Ascent as well. So why not take that comp? It looks really good. I think they're just going to continue getting better and better. Their map pool is just so deep. It's so fucking deep. They've been letting Breeze through recently.
Dude, they're already good at Pearl too. They're crazy on Pearl.
Okay, so I want to ask some questions here. We've talked a bit about Optic Ghost at this point. Exet, Bren. You're believing in Exet to make it to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
They only need to win 2 games.
Yeah, they're in the upper bracket. They're in the upper finals.
Is that the biggest reason?
That's the biggest reason. They start a little bit further ahead. They get the 2 days prep to prep for their upcoming match.
You've actually just predicted the seeding teams.
Yeah, no, it's super boring. It's not bold at all. I said to Kurt, I said it's not really bold. I'm going to go with Exet. But I think with how much people love to
I think it is
doubt
bold.
Exet, it is quite
'cause of
bold.
that.
People just anticipate
Bren,
them to
you're
get fourth.
bold.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm bolding.
God, that is okay. Go on.
100 Thieves then.
What do you mean 100 Thieves?
100
I'm
Thieves.
still talking about Exet.
You've already
let's
talked
talk
about
about
Exet. You
Yeah,
said it was,
I'm done.
you said it
Let
was
him finish.
I just wanted to put you under. I wanted to put you under pressure.
All right, 100 Thieves. Connor, balls in your court here. The 100 Thieves spread over Ghost. I mean, Wyatt's got them both in order to fire up FNS, but 100 Thieves have been good to great in their group, but they have finished in 3rd seed, right? With losses to
Yes.
Ghost and... Who's the other team they lost to?
They lost to TSM.
TSM, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So explain to me why they're going to go on a playoffs run and make it to Copenhagen.
I think they've only gotten better though as time's gone on. Like losing to Ghost is not the end of the world. It's when you consider the current parity. I think of a lot of the North American teams. There's always a chance for the rematch they'll do a lot better. I think the roster's just been getting better and better as it goes on. Their fundamentals are insanely strong. I think they've also been learning over time how to enable and get the most out of like Will and Asuna more and more as I just like the construction of
You're breaking
the
up.
structure of the roster.
What's going on at the command
Feels
center?
solid. Oh,
It's
good.
all right
You're
now.
good.
You're
You're good.
Propulsion systems.
huh?
No, you're all good.
Okay. Well, it's probably because I'm on Wi-Fi right now, so I'm not on Ethernet.
Your mic
so-
is fine. I just have to constantly change your levels because there's no
No,
compression.
his internet was cutting out.
Oh, okay.
It was just
Yeah.
really
Alright.
dodgy.
You're good.
Yeah, I was just but overall, I just like the roster construction. I like the roster construction. I think they've been getting better and better as the weeks went on. Like losing to Ghost is not like a huge deal to me because Ghost is really, really good. And also, Ghost was the other team I was considering putting on the list. I just really like how well-rounded 100 Thieves currently are, and that they also still have room to get better. Now, not that Ghost doesn't, but it's just I feel like there's more room for this team to grow currently, and they have so many strong points to it. They're like, but the thing is, like, so does Ghost. It was honestly a 50-50 coin flip, and realistically, if Ghost beats them out here, then I would not be shocked.
Who would have the most? So we've got 4 teams here. So we've left out, other candidates that could make it, e.g., FaZe, these kind of teams. Who would be the largest disappointment if they didn't make it?
Optic.
Okay.
Optic, yeah.
What's the metric for disappointment for other teams? Because we are talking about insane parity in North America right now. Like if Optic don't make it and they end in 3rd or something, it's not crazy. That could certainly happen.
No.
Are there any other teams where you're looking at them and you're like, okay, this would be a massive failure if they didn't make it, or they have to make top 3, something like that?
I don't even think you can put placement on these matches, because there's entirely a world where you look at each individual match and it's like 3 maps fucking goes a distance.
Right.
Like for a lot of these teams, I think, for a lot of them. I mean, Optic's got a really wide map pool right now. They got a lot of depth across the board, so I don't really see that happening as much. But I mean, the only way I would be disappointed with Optic is if they just looked shit and bottomed out.
Sure, if they look good but they still lose, it's still.
If they
fine.
look good and lose, I don't care about
also
the placement.
they're still pretty much a lock for champions unless they don't go and 2 NA teams do crazy good.
Both make the finals.
Yeah, they'd have to do something like that.
Even if that happens, they'd still make it. Probably, right? Because they get more points for winning than second.
Probably.
I mean, I think it's,
Probably, yeah. So
it's fine.
Let's do the pick'ems. So we've got the pick'ems up at the moment. Let's start with the upper bracket. FaZe, 100 Thieves. I'm going 100 Thieves to start this one. I recognize that there's a possibility of FaZe winning this though too.
Yeah.
Is anyone punting for a FaZe pick? There was one,
No, I
right?
did.
Wyatt.
Right, you did. Yeah,
But,
we already did these. Sorry,
I mean,
my brain has evacuated my body.
I'm fine with either team.
Okay,
in that one.
we'll go with what we actually predicted though. Exit 100 Thieves in the upper. This one defines whether or not Exit make a podium finish. If they win this game, they're top 3. Does the curse strike again?
Rematch.
Yes.
I think Exit should be favored.
They should be favored.
They have extra time.
They have time. 100 Thieves are playing back to back.
They were literally watching the match of 100 Thieves.
Well,
Yeah,
not
100
back-to-back,
Thieves
I
not.
suppose.
Yeah, they're not playing back to back, but they have no time to prep for that upcoming matchup. It should be Exit.
No time?
It should be.
Mike is going to be chewing neuro gum. He's going to be up for 48 hours straight, just VOD watching, preparing a dossier for Sean to read out to the team.
I think 100
with his
Thieves, the 100 Thieves
charisma
players have so much to
biceps.
prove too. This roster has so much to prove after all, like the shit they got initially upon being formed. Obviously, that a lot of that criticism's fallen away now. But like, I just think I don't think the time. Obviously, the time plays a big factor. But I think the 100 Thieves roster they're going to be playing with a fire, with an absolute fire. The orange chicken,
Well,
the orange chicken's going to be in the. Yeah, so are Exit, but at the same time, they bore me.
They bore you.
I have to go with Exit.
I would put Exit in this game as well, actually. I think this is Exit's time to get through to.
I think it's
to the top.
Exit's time to get 4th.
No, man.
They're gonna. I don't know. They always get 4th,
Yeah.
dude. It's just
We had a super chat earlier from Names Too Hard for You that said, "What's worse, a 9-3 curse, the Plat chat curse? Both of those curses are not as powerful as the Exit 4th place curse.
Shit is like overpowering.
If they finish 4th again, I'm
I'm going to run a poll and we can do
can't
the
be
lower
done.
bracket.
What? Sorry,
I'm going to run a poll and we can do the other games.
that's a good idea. Okay, so we're split 2 and 2. We'll let the people decide. Exit 100 Thieves. We'll do the other game.
Oh, giving them that much responsibility, yeah.
We're giving them a lot of responsibility.
that.
Optic Ghost. This is another banger of a
It is
game.
fucking banger.
That is such a good game.
Ghost.
You're putting Ghost in that one. I mean, you
I
are.
think they're gonna. I think they're gonna win.
Optic.
Yeah, I think I do believe in Optic, but I also that's
think that could be a mad close game.
That's my brain that says the favorites are going to win, and it's been wrong for the last 2 weeks. This part of my brain that just goes spread the favorite
Again,
has just been
Ghost
getting
at a
boomed.
disadvantage, literally playing that match after a 1-day break.
I think Optic are going to come in with it.
Chits, you talked about the fucking Mike's HD dossier after chewing Neurogum for 48 hours. Dude, Chet's going to have a fucking laminated folder, 500 pages, cringe comps, Comic Sans, bold underline title.
Yeah, they.
Comic Sans
definitely might.
cringe comps.
But I'm gonna, dude. I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Well, listen, I think. On one hand, I don't even want to say it. I want to say I think Optic no, they shouldn't. Someone needs to doubt them so they can succeed. And I'm going to do it. So
Okay.
Optic are not going to win.
Connor, where are you falling on this?
And this is a tough one. Because on one hand, I love the good, even though he's not American, I love the good, honest American narrative of a small business owner plowing their way through to the top with Nismo. But Optic. We're gonna
Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's look at it. It's Optic.
Small business owner.
I think-
Small business owner succeeding in America.
I think Ye is going to be the best player in the server.
Except Nismo is Canadian, isn't he?
Yes.
That's why I said. I
Yeah.
said he's not
He said
American.
it's not an
I
American
didn't hear
story,
that.
really.
Yeah.
But it's close enough.
Okay.
But it was close enough to the spirit of it, to where he could immigrate on an exceptional visa like they give to scientists and stuff because of the small business ownership and the athleticism of him. So
Let's do the lower bracket here. Lower bracket. EG, NRG. I'm going EG with that one.
There's a world here where NRG play like the form they were in their final match.
It doesn't matter. In my opinion, the form they played in the final match was good. EG have showcased better than that. The NRG have been playing consistently poor comps and sloppy team play and decision making with their comps. But even when you remove that stuff, even when they played in that final game against the Guard and they were playing normal comps and they were playing, I think their best Valorant that they've played, they still are such an improvisational team. And I don't think they have what it takes to be able to crack EG that look so good on Bind, Ascent. They can take them to, like a breeze pick or something maybe as well, even though EG ended up losing on that recently. But I think they've got the jump on NRG here. They've been the better team over the course of the stage.
Yeah, I think that is a reasonable pick, but also wouldn't be surprised to see NRG win.
Are you just going to say that for every game? Wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset.
Yes, because NRG have now switched over to more reasonable comps. They're still playing some iffy stuff, like it's not meta, but they're playing more reasonable stuff.
Yeah,
across the board.
They're not playing Neon on Bind and Yoru.
Yeah, they're playing more reasonable stuff. Fucking if Hayes keeps popping the fuck off, on top of the fact that they have Tex to bail them out. Tex is still putting up insane numbers.
Jorgamo and Boostio are going to diff everyone in the server. They're going to be the two best players in the server.
You said we would have said that. We would have said that against FaZe when EG played against FaZe.
I think Dicey Baby Bay command quite a bit more respect in terms of going up against Jorgamo and Boostio than the NRG players do. I'd take Baby Bay Dicey over Som and Tex, I guess. I mean, who even are the big fraggers? It's not even really Som. He hasn't been doing it. Yeah, it was like Hayes the call for the game.
I mean,
Ethan, I guess, when Ethan was playing the KO.
I think NRG will have a respectable showing, but I mean, I think you just got to go with EG. They've just been better over the whole of the stage. But
yeah,
I think NRG. I think they'll, I think
they could do some damage.
I think they'll, they could keep it close, but I think EG should probably win, right?
FaZe LG at the bottom down there. This is number 2 playing against number 4 seed, but it could have been any seeding for these teams because it was coming down to the wire at the end. It was like a 3-way tie.
Yeah. Sadly, we only might see LG for one game, which is too bad.
LG made some decent upset results in stage 1 when they got to the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, that's when they beat V1.
Yeah, they beat
in
V1
the first round. But I think, I mean, they played close in week 2, and FaZe have improved so much since then.
Yeah.
And LG are, they're a great team, and they have great players, and it's kind of too bad that they only get one game. And I say that, and maybe the hopeful curse, but I think FaZe have just improved so much.
I would think FaZe as well.
If FaZe... Well, I don't
Connor,
know.
would you go FaZe?
Yeah, I mean, I think you gotta go FaZe, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually really do like LG. I like them as a team. It's just unfortunate that FaZe looks like they've really hit their stride like in this particular moment, and they feel really confident. Their game plans look amazing. Like the value they get out of Baby Bay and Dicey is just is crazy. So I think I gotta stick with FaZe for this.
The problem is I would also go for FaZe, which means if that FaZe LG game happens, we've rolled it. That's the only game in North America that we've all played the same person. I mean, that kind of showcases how split we are this week compared to previously. But also, This public service announcement, VLR, you have fucked up your coding. Ghost Gaming and EG should not be on the same side of the bracket once you get to the lowers. The bracket should be flipped. So these matches are wrong.
Sure?
Yeah, the bracket should definitely be flipped here.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a rematch.
It shouldn't be a rematch. You should have Ghost playing against FaZe at this point, and 100 Thieves against EG. So VLR, fix the code. And I guess there's really no point really predicting the rest of the lower bracket. I think we might as well just spread the rest of the uppers. So who did the people say would win the X800 Thieves
Should it be
game?
reset or? I mean, it should.
It's what? Sorry. 65%. The people do not believe in XSET.
No, they don't.
The people simply do not believe in XSET. Yeah. Oh, sorry. 65% to 100
issue.
Thieves. Sorry, I thought Kurt was speaking to the people there, but he was speaking to us.
It's a,
All right,
it's
so
a
nearly
branding
two-thirds
issue
of you.
for XSET. It is just a branding issue. It is not anything to do with their play or their performance. It's just a branding issue.
It's a history issue, Connor. It's a history issue.
It's a branding issue.
XSET have finished fourth every time. It's a history issue.
It's a branding issue.
It's a branding.
It's a branding issue.
Yeah,
No.
it's
It
the
is.
brand.
I think if XSET if they had changed them, if they had changed their colors, maybe made themselves like XYZ set or something like that, like people will be loving this team. It's just they don't get the people going. They don't.
No,
they don't get the people going. If they did, people would be printing them left and right. This team would suck ass, and if their branding was good, they'd be printing them. I mean, that's what people did for 100 Thieves for eons. Like it's good. Like it's the issue.
Okay, that leaves us with an upper bracket final. One team winning this would go to Copenhagen. By the way, this is a BO5 upper final, a BO5 lower final, and a BO5 grand final in this bracket. So that every game that qualifies you to Copenhagen is a BO5. I think it being a BO5 means Optic's map pool depth should just carry them through this one. I think Ghost have a higher upset chance than 100 Thieves do against Optic. Personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Optic beat Ghost, they should win this game too. If that's how this bracket plays out.
I don't know.
You're doing the same thing again where there's a chance for the underdog.
I don't know.
That's what you're doing again.
Well, there's a big break between the upper semis and upper final. It's a week break. Teams get to...
We're going to be able to predict this next week anyway.
Yeah.
It's
And hopefully VLR will fix that
goes
coding.
to Optic. It goes to Optic as a default here, but next week, who knows?
Yeah. Also, next week, hopefully we'll be able to pred more of the lower bracket, like, effectively. So...
wow, we can't do pick'ems in the middle of...
No, but we can... we'll figure something out. I mean, we can do the pick'ems without actually clicking the little blue thing.
That's true.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. But Kurt can save the HTML or whatever we did last time with the absolute ghetto approach.
But then it's going to be the wrong one again.
Possibly.
You don't know technology.
Yeah. No, I don't know technology. Okay, then. That does it for the North American playoffs. The predictions, the pick'ems. We haven't cursed any teams, surprisingly. I guess we've theoretically cursed Optic because we all thought they were going to win the game against 100 Thieves if they even get to that point. We all thought that FaZe were going to be able to beat LG. But talking about EMEA, last week we were on this podcast and we had a topic saying, EMEA, they look like a two-team region.
Yep.
It's only Fnatic. It's only FPX. And then ACEND come out and win the game against FPX.
Yep.
And they look good doing it.
Yep.
FPX kind of trolled map 1.
Oh, I mean, but we got the double-edged sword of FPX.
Yeah.
With the cool, interesting comps, it's always fun to watch them, but then they just sometimes just don't have the depth to it.
Can you take a look, first of all, just at the comps that they're running, Kurt? If you just scroll down and take a look at their bind comp. So they start off here on bind for FPX running a Cypher
Solo controller,
Solo Omen Cypher Fade KO comp.
Yeah.
No one plays KO on bind. I mean, a couple of teams have tried it a long time ago. No one plays Cypher anymore. And often with FPX, you get like really cool ideas when they bring out a new comp.
Yeah.
But I was watching the VOD and I just couldn't see the vision. You know what I mean?
The defense side, they were playing catch up a lot of the time as well. Because the thing that the double controller gives you, like what ACEND were playing, you can just throw up a random clip here. Round 3 to start as well. Kurt, that I ended up pulling on map 1. It's just a bonus getting gifted by FPX by taking silly fights. But they were often just trying to match the the Omen play. Like you see like Omen smokes being used, a lot of interesting one-ways being set up to deny space, but the defensive answer by FPX as well would be to set up another smoke and just try and contest the space with their own Omen smokes. But then it's just a game of catch-up as the Viper still has their utility. And so they're always lacking enough tools to slow down the aggressive approach from Ascend. I mean, this comes down to, it's more than winnable. I mean, it's just literally Zeke left alive.
It's a 1v3.
It's a 1v3. I mean, he's left alone. He has his ult as well. This really shouldn't have come down to this on the bonus round. So it's like little mistakes from FPX, you know, when they're playing. It's not necessarily a comp problem, but
Ascend win a 1v3 to win this bonus. Ascend won 2v4s to win the game against G2.
Mad clutch.
You know when I said a couple of weeks ago, Ascend are going to win some of these games just because their players are just too skilled to lose occasionally. These are the moments I'm talking about, people. Ascend win some nonsense because their players are just so good.
Yeah, they are. They can pull them out of a lot of poor situations. I think as well, like FPX's comp definitely favored towards the attack side is what I would say.
Zeke given 3 1v1s
to it. Yeah, just given so many opportunities. I don't know why they didn't swing together. It's just a pretty poor form by FPX, but a pretty costly mistake to give them the bonus round. Round 13, the pistol round, FPX's attack side pistol round. You can just start to see just the power of the comp just in regards to the amount of utility they can dump out. Because if the initial push doesn't get essentially slowed down, like you see CNET's just trying to fight over the showers control here. They really can just swarm and overwhelm. They end up just like poking a little bit at the beginning, cutting noise, and then they go for a big wholehearted exec again. As soon as they push CNET out of showers, they're like, okay, the showers players are going to get into position. And as soon as the showers players have control, it's like one big push. Like Zeke's just holding a paranoia, but I don't think there's really anything to play off of this as they're coming through this one. So they just throw out the knife. Zeke has to use the paranoia early. The cage blocks the cross so they can take side control as well. The nade just in case of players hiding behind it. So many little pieces of utility they can just use for these bursty little plays to take control. I mean, this is just nice, a bit unlucky, I suppose, for CNET as they're just trying to clear it together to not hit the shots. But I started to see the idea with this pistol round. But unfortunately, the damage has been done. By ACEND. I mean, and then that's not even considering the fact that they still almost clutched it out.
Yeah,
like
the fact they're in another 3v1.
Like in a 3v1.
Except the other way around.
Shao now have forced a 1v1 clutch. This one almost, I mean, just almost getting caught with utility out in his hand as well if he held the wrong angle.
Yeah, to me, I'm watching this and it's not going to become the meta on bind. This comp is not going to become meta and bind. It's just not going to happen. And also, it didn't have one of those moments where you're like, oh, damn, they really stumbled upon some hidden gold here where they figured out what was going on. I think the series after this, though, the Sugetsu played fantastically on Breeze. He finishes with 35 kills on a regulation game of Breeze. The Viper dropping 400 ACS.
Yeah, this was actually pretty fucking cool, their Breeze. Now, I didn't pull Sugetsu highlights because a lot of the rounds where he's putting up these insane numbers, he's just getting a two-piece.
Yeah, he's just trading, like, getting two.
A lot of it's just off-camera as well. Like it just wasn't necessarily being observed because you're just not really thinking to watch the Viper as much in those situations. But they had a cool setup for their Breeze. They were running this Euro comp. This is FPX running this Euro comp. Round 4, Kurt, you can start to see. They play this mid-default where they wall. If you look at the minimap, they use their Viper wall to cut up halls and mid, and they have a TP, the gate crash. Angel TPs up into mid. Now, this is mad susceptible. If they just watch that angle, they can just kill Angel, but they don't end up doing it. But they did this for the pistol round, and they did this for round 4 as well. So they're really just trying to condition ACEND this entire time that when they put this wall down, they're not necessarily going for an A-split horse push.
Yeah.
It's the possibility that it could be that mid control, and all they do at the beginning is they take mid control, and then they hunt for picks. They're basically prodding for weaknesses, looking for a pick here and there, and then they find an opening, or they essentially make a decision to go in. Like here, they just use the Euro ult to get info and push into the site. I think they just trade effectively and just get the hell in there.
The whole splits, though, were dominant from FPX.
And that's what I mean. That's why I wanted to show this round first, to show the prior thought being put into it, because the whole splits, when they later transitioned into it, were fucking crazy.
I mean, even there, Sugetsu just gets so much work done just as a solo player.
Just real quick as well, Kurt, the round after this one, ACEND did adjust to that mid-default, round 5. I just want to show it so that you can see Angel actually getting punished for the TP. And then we can immediately show afterwards, the round 10 is when you start to see a really good horse push. Round 5, they go for I'm pretty sure it's round 5 that I linked. Yeah, here it is. Like they're doing the exact same default, but this time it actually gets punished. It's being watched for. Like Cena's just got the cross as well. He's lucky to kind of win that one out on 45 health. They end up actually, they do end up losing this round. Just it devolves into fucking chaos. It devolves into absolute chaos. We don't need to watch the whole thing, but it does show that ACEND were thinking about how to disrupt it. But the damage is done because on round 10, they're using the same default, except this time it is actually the typical A hit. And the thing that the Euro adds into this comp that I wasn't really thinking about before is it just gives you the ability to threaten these players on A from multiple different angles. Angel TPs into the back of A. They've got players through main as well, so they're just crunching this player at bricks. They got the push coming from halls. Artist just opens up the door into halls. They push through main. Fucking Angel's just TP'd onto the site. It's like stimulation overload. They've got everything going on at once, and the players who are just trying to like fight hard at main, they can't do anything. I mean, what ACEND should have been doing is fighting hard over horse control for most of the time, which they did every now and then, but it was too little too late.
It's hard to figure it out on the fly against a comp you just don't understand how it plays.
That's
no
the benefit
one plays
of these comps. Yeah.
No one plays Breeze like this at all. But for FPX, what confuses me is they've tried so many different ideas over the course of this stage. They have truly been just... even more than Optic, trying out different ideas, different strats. Obviously, Optic have tried like the Yoru on Ascent, and they tried integrating the Neon into various different places. But FPX have been doing that, but to an even bigger degree. What are they going to do when it comes to playoffs? Are they going to try and pick the comps that worked and play them? Like, are they going to run this Yoru comp again against another opponent on Breeze because it worked? If so, they've just laid out a lot of their game plan and given their opponents a way of thinking about how to counter it. Or is it just supposed to be, we're playing this comp to win one game and we're going to bring out something new once more for the playoffs? Because there's pros and cons to that as well. Sure, you're playing a different comp that people won't know how to counter strat, but at the same time, half of these comps have not been successful for FPX. Yeah. The Yoru comp on Fracture looked pretty poor. The comp that they ran previous to this on Bind looked pretty poor.
Even this comp on the defense side, you started to see the lack of... layers to it. Yeah, it was very heavily trending towards like their attack sides, and when they got into defense, it was rough. Like they had to rely on some big moments to be able to pull it through with a series.
Also, the Doombros was doing an interview with Tom Biz. Doombros has had to get 3 subs for this team in case they can't make it to Copenhagen with their Russian players. So, you know, Angels from Ukraine. They got Sugetsu, who's Russian, and Shao, who's Russian as well. And they're trying to relocate those players. This is what Doombros, their coach, said. They're trying to relocate those players. But if they can't move them around so that they can get a visa for Copenhagen, if they can't do that, they're going to have to play with 2 other subs, maybe 3 subs. Yeah. And these are that would still be allowed. They'd still be allowed to play because they are like officially on the team at this point, instead of just being like, you know, random people that they've grabbed from the street. Yeah. But that is not going to be prime FPX. That's not going to be an FPX that's able to pull out cool shit like this at Copenhagen. Yeah. So I feel like the identity of this team is it's weird when you're watching them, because it's like you're coming out with so much cool shit, but I don't know whether to get excited for it, because I don't know whether you're going to be able to do that at Masters.
Yeah. It's a shame, though, because they've been pretty awesome all year.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they're
one of the most fun teams to watch.
Yeah, they're either second, third best at the moment. It's lost to ACEND. ACEND did play well, though.
Yeah, it's good to see that ACEND are figuring things out in regards to, you know, some of the roles being better. CNED playing a lot of the chamber. And, I mean, Zeke just can play every agent in the game well.
Yeah, yes, he really can.
He can just play everything. He's just so good. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't have expected the Starzo Zeke kind of role swap with the Rays to. I mean, it
they talked about that,
be
actually.
An idea on the table. I guess you just wouldn't really think about that from the outside, you know.
Yeah.
But they do it, and it looks great.
They talked about it, and Zeke had an interview with Yinsu that was really good, where he was talking about. Obviously, he took a break recently because of his mental state.
Yeah.
And prior to that, he'd been doing mid-round calling for them, and now he's full IGLing for the team. And he said, just openly into the interview, when I was playing Rays, I felt like I was getting baited, but I was happy to die for the team a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And then with this squad, because presumably the inference there is that because they were a newer team that didn't have the same level of coordination, and also the metas moved on a little bit, he felt like that style of Rays was not really feasible anymore. You couldn't just play full aggro, send it in, try and, have the rest of your team mop up, like how they used to play their split with the Jett and the Raze. He felt like that style of Valorant just didn't work anymore. So he was like, I'd rather play a more supportive role and let someone else step in.
Yeah.
And Starzo's been nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always been an aggressive player. Back when he was playing Sky, he'd love taking flashing himself in and trying to have impact. So it's ended up working beautifully. They also just stole G2's comp on Split and made it work really well.
This comp is kind of nasty, actually, when you get onto the defense side. I mean, FPX got off to a really good start. They got a ton of rounds on Split early. But as soon as ACEND got the ball rolling a little bit, their defensive setups have... I mean, just look on the minimap at the amount of trips and trademarks they've got over towards A leaning. They've got like a trip to watch the ropes push from mid, and also a trip to watch a ramp push, and also across from main. This as well is an example of one of the things that's carrying through. Monster is crazy good. Like,
he really
and he's
is.
only gotten better as time has gone on with his team playing together. And look at this retake from them. It's a 3v2. They're retaking with an op, and the movement bait as well to force these peaks is so clean. Just the pure fundies. There's nothing like a good set of fundies to get us going.
Yeah.
Like,
When the guy trades for the other guy.
Love when fundamentals in Valorant.
That is
Am I
so
right,
nice.
guys?
Monster jiggles. CNED is the one that peaks, and Monster's holding for the player that swings off the guy in Hell's Cross. It is really smart.
Monster, I think even before these role changes, when ACEND were looking rougher around the edges at the beginning of the stage, I think was showing how valuable of a pickup he was. I think he's been pretty excellent throughout the entirety of this stage.
Zeke kept missing
His
the
stats
smokes a
were
little
crazy
bit.
from this match.
Yeah, they were.
His stats were just so crazy. Like he actually had. It was kind of interesting in general. I feel like for this because it felt like it was very much a Sentinel pop off for a Sentinel player pop off for both of these teams, like with Sugetsu and with Monster. But Monster was showing like moments of brilliance even before this, like Wyatt was talking about. So ACEND just have fucking good players. Their players are just their player quality is just so high. It's
That's
just
the thing
so
that carries
high.
them forwards as well. Like,
But the improvement to me has been their comps and the time they've spent playing together in a boot camp, because they've actually been boot camping recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Zeke was saying that they've been spending time together in the same facility, and they went from winning like a tiny amount of scrims to winning all of their scrims. He said, apart from Fnatic, no one beats Fnatic. but yeah, apparently that just made a massive resurgence. I think they also just changed their comps in a really good way, and they're currently looking like a top 3 team.
yeah.
I mean, I think the 3 best teams in the EMEA are in Group A.
I did not have faith in them, and because they were playing Reyna on Icebox, but
Well, they changed that now
exactly.
as well.
They changed that a while ago. So they changed it up a while ago, and they've just been making improvements week on week. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with them. I think as well. Yeah, doesn't help that FPX like to play they like to sip the funny juice and play funny comps every now and then. But
Yes. Yeah. But we'll see what happens with them as it gets close to playoffs. My next topic is going to mold any of the EMEA viewers, but I'm going to say it anyway. Are Fnatic going to stumble after going undefeated in the group stage? They've gone 5-0 in groups. Do you remember when that happened recently?
Stage
1. They went 5-0 in groups. What they also did was win a blockbuster of a game to qualify them in the upper bracket.
Yeah, did they stumble?
yes,
In stage one? Yeah.
They qualified in the upper bracket and then lost like a meaningless game.
But they weren't meaningless. It booked you straight into
I
playoffs.
guess,
It wasn't.
sure.
It genuinely wasn't meaningless. We thought it was meaningless at the time.
Yeah,
and then it came out
I
that it
still
got you
think
straight into uppers.
I still think it's meaningless.
The Fnatic players though knew it wasn't meaningless at the time, and they got smoked in those games too.
destroyed.
They got smoked in those games against FPX and G2. So listen, Fnatic played against G2 this week. And they said afterwards in the interview, we weren't really trying. We're already locked in for number 1 seed. It was genuinely a meaningless game. They said they were trying out new stuff, and it didn't look as clean as before. That's just a fact. But also, I'm cautious with Fnatic because I've seen them look lights out amazing before and then stumble a bit when everything looks perfect. You know, when everything seems set up for them to just pound, they have a little hiccup and a stumble and they can't quite get it over the line. So, I mean, I'm still super high on this team. I think they look like the best team in EMEA, but
There's no way.
I can't prep them for Copenhagen
Josh,
until they win in playoffs.
First of all, biased global Riot has given EU too many slots. Okay, so there's basically no way they don't make it to Copenhagen. Let's be real.
I mean, take a look at the playoffs. They only have to win one match.
Yeah. And
They only need to
they
win
only need
one
to win
match.
one game
They
to
win
qualify. They have
if
to
they
win
beat
one
FPX
game.
or Liquid.
They
They are
lose the
top
upper
3.
final, they go to the lower
Come
final
on,
and
there's,
top 3.
There's no... Surely, Clueless,
Of course.
surely there's no way
Yeah.
they don't qualify.
No, it's impossible.
It is impossible.
They just need to be in the top
Yeah.
50% of these teams to make it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no way that... There's
no,
no way
I'm
they
not
could
saying-
possibly drop off that hard that they don't qualify.
I'm not
It's
saying
not
that.
possible.
I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, I think Fnatic, in some people's heads, especially the EMEA teams' heads, and the teams that play against them, they think Fnatic are the best team in the world right now. They are favorites for Copenhagen. They're going to dominate.
But that's
gonna
just
be- dude,
European copium, though.
No,
that's
it's
just
not even European.
copium.
It's
No,
not
it's
European
not-
copium.
it's
They
not
look fucking
European
mental
copium.
right now. But I can't get on that train
Dude, I'm
until
gonna
they
say-
win
no,
EMEA
dude,
playoffs.
I'm going to tell you something as an American, okay? As an American looking at this European at Europe throughout this stage, chaos, utter chaos abounds. But who will hold me? Fnatic. Fnatic are my bedrock. Okay, Fnatic are they're the North Star that I look to when I'm lost in the night.
Yes.
Okay? Boaster's loving arms caress me. They calm me. In a world of chaos where Navi are beating Guild and FPX are running Yoru, Fnatic comfort me.
Yeah.
They will make it, Josh. They will be fine.
Yeah, I also think these are different circumstances compared to stage 1. In the sense that they probably knew at a certain point that they were already going to be having issues getting Brave into Reykjavik once they made it this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's probably
maybe
at
that
point.
had an impact.
Nothing
Yeah,
will
maybe.
distract them. They got the firepower. They got the strategy. They got the support
That's what I
players
mean.
going off. The supporting. They got everything.
Yeah,
They're gonna be
dude.
fine.
Alvia,
Okay.
I've never, dude. This guy Alvia is fucking nuts. Like
Yeah,
that's the contingent. The only thing that this will have value in is if Alvia ends up stumbling a little bit into in the LAN environment of Copenhagen. I think they're going to make. I think they're going to make plus. They're absolutely going to make the event as well. They're going to make Copenhagen. No doubts in my
Top
mind.
seed, number 1 seed. They should.
I think they should be number 1 seed. This team looks unbelievable at the moment.
But Alvia is only 16.
He's very
I
young.
think.
He's very
16,
young,
17.
and that's the only thing that you can make. I think as an argument.
Yeah, because Dirk's always good at LAN.
Yep,
I mean, as
Dirk
long
is
as he's
always
allowed
good.
to play, he's always good at LAN.
Yeah.
Think about that as well, actually. The fact that Fnatic stumbled in their Stage 1 playoffs meant they didn't have playoffs guaranteed, which meant they had to play without Dirk. If they had been able to get that top seed, which they should have done,
Yeah, they would have been able to play with Dirk.
they would have been able to play with Dirk.
I still don't think they would have done too well.
I mean, yeah, sure. But it would have made a bit of a difference.
Sure, no, I would have.
Yeah, this team, though, does look fantastic. And I don't think you can take away too much from their game against G2 because they just said they weren't particularly trying too hard.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm waiting for the playoff games. And I'm
I was almost
reserving.
late this morning because I was watching that match. And I was just watching it. And I'm
Now
like,
you've just been told it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
well, yeah.
Okay, on the other
A lot
side
of
of things, though.
internalized trauma for Fnatic, by the way. I just want to put that out there. Is that there's so much internalized trauma from like Josh for Fnatic in general, and like a lot of these European teams. Where it's like, but in particular Fnatic, it was like this team looks amazing, and you've been hurt before, and you've said that. But it's just crazy to me, like how before, this is my own take. How before, Josh, you were an unabated EU simp, and now you've been hurt so many times by their teams that you've become more reasoned and measured. That's wisdom. That's wisdom right there.
I was an unabashed EU simp, and now I'm waiting for a couple of weeks before I get back on the EU train. If Fnatic finish number 1 seed, you best believe I'm back on that EU train. I'm going to be riding that off into the distance. The team I'm not going to be too high on, though, is Mech. Having said that, they are through to the playoffs, which was not a guarantee by any means. After they lost this week to Liquid, they lost to Liquid, and they needed BBL to beat Big in order to make it through to playoffs. The fate of the Masters 3 Champions team, I would argue the best roster of 2021, was in the hands of Big. Yep. Big might have been able to take their spot in playoffs instead had they beaten BBL. So this is a...
I think they would have done more of it as well.
No, I can't. No, I can't be on board with that.
Yeah.
I can't be on board with that. So
Listen,
let's.
it's not my segment, but I've given up on mech. I'm going to go fill up my water bowl.
It's yeah.
Connor, have you given
It's
up on
all
mech?
of our segment.
I mean, I don't think mech is. I mean, yes, they are. They probably did just. They went to the Pizza Hut after to meet BBL and said, like, thanks guys, good transaction overall. Like, I'm sure everyone was very happy with what occurred. But I don't know. It's not so much that I'm giving up. I definitely don't think mech have any of this. Like, there's still moments where the magic occurs for this team, especially where Nats can do some ratty shit. You know, like, it can happen every once in a while. And even like Defo still has like it's there. It's like a post tokenized like world, you know, where like the magic has left the lands. You know, like all the hobbits and elves went to Valar or whatever. Like that's what happened with mech. Is like there's no magic left in this team currently. It's just normal. It's just like there's some stuff there, but there's nothing. And that's kind of how I feel about it. But also when I was watching this match in general, I didn't love Liquid's look either during this match, even though they won. I didn't love their look either. But you know, we can go through some clips. But like, for example, this is more of a Liquid thing, but like round one, Kurt, I think we just watched it again. I think we just watched it. We just watched it, but I want to watch it again here because this is what I'm talking about. Why I didn't like Liquid's look too much. Where Liquid, they tried to use their fucking Sage Wall and block their own plant spot. Yeah. And then they had to rotate and try, and they lost the round because of it.
Yeah,
I've seen what we mean by EMEA. We've lost all hope.
I mean, they did
Wyatt
that
is right.
actually again on B.
The only team that we can expect to hold us, comfort us, stroke our hair, Fnatic.
It's going to be ACEND as well.
Yeah.
ACEND are growing into
Hopefully
that bedrock
ACEND.
team. They started very unstable. They had a tectonic movement, and now it's solidified.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like, so Liquid are good. They're a good team. Their player quality, another team where like their player quality is high. Like Yampy just fucking popped off at
They
points on
discovered
Chamber.
the chamber.
Like,
They
they
found it in
played
the
Chamber,
Agent
and
Select.
Yampy on Chamber is quite good. It's quite good, and I feel like that was a very large portion as to why this map went so well for them too. Was that having Yampy on Chamber allowed them to have so much aggression from their Sentinel, quote unquote, player, and also just like frag out of control continuously. But mech still they just look disjointed. They just don't have like a lot of those hero plays you saw a lot. They don't have a lot of the interesting like Nats taking space lurks often. Like they didn't really control a lot of the spaces that like you would see from mech before.
I fucking hate though as well is that I know I was filling on my water, but I heard you say it. The moments of brilliance that you do see from mech.
Yeah.
But my God, I mean, sometimes you do see those Nats moments coming through, and sometimes you see Chronicle just ripping off heads.
I think Nat's been their best player.
Nats has been so good, man, and it's so fucking frustrating. I think I'm so distant from them. I just tear them away without giving them a chance to protect me. Because I don't want to have faith. I don't want to have hope anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be hurt anymore.
Who's their equivalent in North America? Is it a similar kind of story to like a Cloud9? The thing is, there's been no roster move, so for Cloud9, it doesn't really make the similar amount of sense. But they're like one of those teams that you expect to be up at the top, and they've just...
I don't think there is a comparison.
Kind of lost it.
There's no comparison in the world to mech because they were just the team of last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's... I just don't think there's a comparison.
Yeah. Yeah.
This game actually... That game kind of gave me a little bit of Liquid hopium, though. Honestly. I felt
mean,
that was
like their comps were
one of
figured
the
out,
better
I
Liquid
say.
games. Yeah.
I think Liquid and Guild both are kind of upset teams in the bracket where they might be able to get like a really crucial upset over one of the top three, and it would just roll the whole bracket and take everything off into a mad land.
This game did give me more Liquid hopium. Also because I felt like in the mech game that they lost against Big, I felt like there was also just a lot of individual fumbling in that game. The bag had been fumbled on the individual level. And I felt specifically like, you just expect Shados to be such an excellent player. And I felt like he had a rough game against Big, which was really uncharacteristic of him. And then in this game against Liquid, he was pretty solid again. I think it was on Icebox that he dropped like 20 and Nats had 22. So I felt like with that not being an issue and Liquid's still able to get a comfortable win that I got a little liquid hopium. I like the comps more. I like the Yampy chamber, and they had Navera chamber on Fracture, which is good. So,
just looking at the comps, and you just got Chronicle playing Brim on Icebox as well. I saw this the first time he brought it out, and I was like, weird. This looks like trolling. There's a tiny bit of me that thinks, oh, this is actually kind of cool. Like the Molly is getting value, the smokes are getting some value. But the more I'm watching it, the more it's just
it hurt them pretty heavily in a lot of like retake, like post plant scenarios where like it was very clear, like without the Molly was like the only thing that Chronicle was giving to them.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Also, the players are just not popping in the same way that they were in 2021. It felt like you couldn't win an Angel against Gambit in last year.
I mean, if you want to talk about like you need to show. I mean, they just moved on. Like when you talk about the ultimate mech, Sag, dick flattening. Kurt, just move on to Fracture because Icebox was just like. Like Liquid played really well. They played they had one beef wall, but also I think they played with their util from DreamS. Like the util from the Sage wall, he was playing Fortnite, where like he was just build. Well, I guess build Fortnite now because there's no build Fortnite too, where the walls were just owning like mech a lot of the times in the retakes on Liquid's defense. But moving to Fracture, like stuff like this happened, where Scream just like their players just popped off. They just got like amazing kills here. Yeah. And then the worst thing of all, the true sadness was round 20, the Chronicle Frisbee. The Chronicle Frisbee moment. The Chronicle Frisbee moment that lost them the round and the map.
Fucking odd job moment. Holy fuck, I was crying. Yeah. I was crying watching that, man. I was pained. And
that literally lost them that round and potentially like the map too.
It did.
Because of that
It lost them the fucking map. Oh my god, this is painful.
It was actually like that. When you think about like the mech, the situation with mech too, it's especially sad because it's Chronicle.
Look at this.
It's Chronicle, man. This guy was the dude. This guy was the dude. If you think about like earlier, like for this team, Chronicle was the man. And then this happens.
This is why
he dies.
I'm fucking telling you. I know.
Listen. And then play it out. Watch as your soul gets fucking crushed.
Yeah, just watch what happens.
Condensed.
It's just disastrous. It's just so sad. It's so sad. I mean, DreamS is just controlling tower. He gets the ult off of it. Like, it's just so... because he got the rifle from Chronicle. I mean, it's just so sad.
Listen, it's so insane play from DreamS, but also...
He should have died immediately.
He should have. Yeah.
It's great. And from the very beginning of this year, you've seen those weird mistakes from Mech. Like missing... I remember, very beginning of stage 1, you're seeing Chronicle on Fracture playing Brim, and he's like missing his molly, and like the players are looking really uncoordinated, and they're just messing stuff up. I don't really know what's been going on with them, but it looks like they've lost their mojo. And... I mean, the EMEA games look like they've been compromised. Yeah. I've said this last week.
It's so painful.
It's absurd what's been occurring.
Man.
And then, so Mech ended up having to wait for the Aslan v Aslan showdown, like a fucking existential battle in Narnia between BBL and Big, where it's Aslan from Big versus Aslan before Shadow from BBL. And there was a serious Aslan differential in this game.
Yeah, the Aslan difference was huge.
I don't think we really need to dig into this too much because both of these teams don't have anything going on. They're both out of the playoffs as well. But this was just a very funny, weird situation in which Big are somehow playing for playoffs despite having only won one match in 2 stages, which is just ludicrous.
EMEA is lost.
I mean,
it was a ludicrous scenario.
What was they did some weird thing to sort these groups at the beginning, and I forget what it was.
It was like a chat
poll to somehow influence it.
Yeah,
and it ended up with extreme spaghetti spillage. I mean, like G2 just got flattened by being in Group A. I mean, they make it through like 100% in Group B.
Yeah, they would make playoffs. Yes,
come on, it's crazy.
Yeah,
like it's just this extreme flattener.
I can't remember how they did it with the chat. They got the chat to vote which group the team should be in.
It wasn't that direct, but it was something to do with like the seeding. I can't remember.
Like,
it was some weird thing.
The chat
but
could vote Group A, Group B. No. Or am I don't know.
I can't remember
actually. I
exactly.
can't.
It wasn't that direct, but it was enough that it did kind of fuck these groups, I think.
One of the big results, one of the big results of the groups
so
getting messed up
messy, man.
is that Guild are now 1 win away from Copenhagen.
Yeah.
If Guild win 1 game, they make it to Copenhagen.
Guild have had some excellent maps, but they're just,
They're just all right. They're the X set of EMEA.
They are the X set.
They are
Exactly.
literally the X set of EMEA.
Yeah.
Previously, with their old roster, they finished decently, and you
Yeah.
guys all used to mock me because I was like, Guild need to be in our global top 10. And you were like, fuck off, it's Guild. They're boring as shit. They just always finish 4th. It's the same story as X set, but in EMEA. And
All they had is David Beckham clout. That's it.
Yeah.
David Beckham clout.
they're in the same position as
Fuels
XZ,
them.
as a top seed in the group, except because there are 3 teams sent from EMEA, they are now, I guess,
Dude, it's
favorites for Copenhagen.
so stupid that there are 3 teams coming from EMEA and 2 from NA. I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Dude, North America's just done 6.
I mean, there should be 10 slots for NA. No, but really, why? Come on, guys.
I mean, EMEA
Guys,
had both of the
come
teams
on.
in Champions. They also would have done much better had FPX and Fnatic able to play with their top team.
Yeah.
NA wouldn't have won.
Cool points, but where's North America?
Okay, but what I want to ask you here is, are Guild favorites to make Copenhagen? They only need to win 1 game, but if they lose the upper bracket game, they have to win 2. So win, loss, they make it.
The problem is they have
Loss, win, they make it.
they have to beat Fnatic though in a BO3
to make it in the first time around. Yeah.
So that's probably not going to happen.
No, they don't.
No.
Right?
They have to beat
No,
Ascend.
they have to
or
beat Ascend or Mech.
Oh,
Which is so
right. That's a
feasible.
doable
right?
game.
Yeah, because 3 slots. They laugh.
Yeah. So
I mean,
if
they
Guild
could do
beat,
it.
let's
But
Ascend are favorites over Mech. If Guild beat Ascend, or somehow Mech, have a resurgence in that upper round 1, Guild are through.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, they are.
I mean, they just if they lost out on the slot, it would be kind of an embarrassment considering how they started upper semis and they just need to win 1 match, right? It would be like considering their performance in their groups, it would be kind of a insane ball drop of epic proportions. It would be a meteor strike of a ball drop if they were to not make it. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, they have
considering
to
their
win
results in their group.
I agree. I think also
But-
because they're on the easier, quote unquote, side of the bracket. I mean,
Yeah.
Ascend did beat FPX recently, but FPX were the winners of stage 1. And so I think in most people's heads, being on the side of the bracket with FPX would be a little more challenging than being on the side of the bracket with Ascend. I think, it's 6 and 2 3s at the end of the day. It doesn't make too much difference. But Guild have all of the stuff they need to be able to.
I'm going to talk
to
about
take
this in the pick'ems.
Well, we're going to do the pick'ems. I just wanted to quickly ask you, do you think they're a favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they. I mean,
Favorite.
No, I don't think they're a favorite, actually. Well,
Let's leave it for the pick'ems then.
To make it to Copenhagen.
Let's leave it for the
Yeah.
pick'ems.
Not to
then.
win Copenhagen,
No,
to
just
make it.
Simply to make top 3.
We'll leave it for the pick'ems.
Okay, let's leave it for the pick'ems.
Leave
then.
it for the pick'ems.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be doing the EMEA Preds, pick'ems, that kind of thing. We'll curse some teams. We'll do all of that good stuff. Later on, we're going to be talking about Loud DRX as well. So if you hear Brazilian fan, Korean fans, we are going to be talking about those teams. We'll do them straight after our EMEA pick'ems. And then, of course, we've always got Wyatt's Weekly Award. Appreciate everybody that's become a member so far today as well. We had quota
And thank you for
recently
the
as well.
super chats.
And thank you for the super chats. I'm going to take this opportunity to read through some of the dumb super chats.
No.
No, I'm going to do it. Okay?
well,
I'm going to do it. Like this one.
Let
Read
them-
this,
let them learn.
pot friend. What is that? Like, how is that additive to the show?
what?
Name's too hard for you, said, read this, pot friend. On YouTube, where pot friend isn't even an emote. Where are you people coming up with this stuff? Sideshow, drop the drip. I need the shirt, Mr. Egg, says Carl Fletcher Jr. I don't know where I got this cow sweater, but people were asking me for this.
It's a great sweater.
It is a great sweater.
It's definitely. I feel like that's the lane you need to start entering into
Well,
fashion-wise. Like just more pattern sweaters. I feel like that's.
I love
the look
that,
for you.
but the Valorant look is not sweaters. It's like streetwear.
But that's for like the events. I mean, for like just you,
Me as a person.
you as a human. Yeah, you coming on Plat chat and just day to day.
Day to day, it's 100 degrees outside.
Okay, well, not day to day like that, but you know, just as like,
Just my look.
I feel like that's the look for that. I feel
Yeah.
like that's the look for you. It's just like cool pattern sweaters.
I need you as my fashion stylist.
I think that's I think that is the ideal Sideshow.
You can dress me in some crazy Met Gala shit. I'm open to it. Also, Masab Fahan said Scrimbucks TSM 13-0'd optic with a 5 duelist comp. So people are just lying to us with super chats.
just lying.
They're just lying to us on the internet. Yeah. Just absurd. And then Genghis Connor says bong alien. Again, what? I feel like, okay,
Important.
just a PSA. If you're going to send in a super chat and you want us to interact with it, it can be meaningful. It can be meaningful, and we will interact with it. But if you send us a message that says bong alien question mark,
Yeah, that was when we were at the beginning of the stream.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
That was when we were at the beginning.
It was. It really was.
All right, I have something to say. People are trashing this song. Fuck you.
Dude,
this song is awesome.
Dude, you don't like this song?
don't like this song?
Like the default Facebook ad song? Dude, you guys are... Dude, I would listen to this shit at the
It's called
club.
meta now.
I would listen to this
I bumped this in
at the
pre-gaming.
club, dude.
I shotgun beers today.
Sorry, that's all I had to say. I had to get
That's
that off my
okay,
chest.
Cap. It was
Chest.
very-
It was really driving me nuts seeing
Dude,
haters in
shove the
chat.
people down.
Yeah.
I like
This-
Wii music, except we can't play
Josh
Nintendo
thinks
music.
this is the Wii music song. That's how good it is.
No, I didn't think
It's
it was.
Nintendo quality music.
I could see this being the Wii song, actually. Oh, super chat, boyhood synopsis. Okay, thank you, Max. Yep, yeah.
What does
yeah,
that
that's-
mean?
You don't want to know. Inside joke between Max and Connor that's infiltrated the show at this point.
Oh.
A boy rediscovers his. Yeah, whatever.
Continue with the show, host.
EMEA Pick'em's time. Let's go for it. So, yay! So we don't have too many games to pred, and then we'll just go into the Pick'ems. The first game. Do we want to do stats or something, or are we just leaping into it here?
We did stats.
Oh, we already did the
Stats.
stats. No, you're right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay, so first game, Ascend Mech. So this is a replay of the 2021 Champions Finals. And we are all predding the team that won Champions last year. You know what this means? You know what this means? Smile!
Oh, what a good, what
that's
an
really
excellent
good.
feature that is.
God.
What an excellent feature.
Surely
job,
a
I really
win.
wish we'd been able to use it for North America, but there were just no games where there's a massive favorite playing at the end. But
I mean,
No
this,
clout.
dude, is Mech really going to have a resurgence just because we predded all for Ascend?
No. I can say with confidence, the answer is no.
What? That's a
way.
certified plat check.
Yeah, that's
guarantee.
a certified plat
The
guarantee.
magic is lost.
There
the
is
magic
no
is
way.
gone. It's exited
Yeah.
the realm.
Exactly.
I think the magic is lost, sadly.
We're entering the,
We have now
age
the-
of
we-
men.
Magic
It
is
is
gone.
the
Ascent
age
are
of
improving
men.
every single week. They're playing more normal comps. Cena's popping the fuck off. Monster looks unreal. I just don't see it. I see Chronicle walking into his Molotov. I see Chronicle trying to chop people's heads off with his stimmy. I don't see how they win though.
Yeah. Okay. Reasonable. Let's take a look at the next game then. It's Liquid playing against FPX. And we have a Liquid simp. I thought this was going to be another plat check guarantee.
No.
FPX did lose their game against Ascend,
not
but
a plat
Wyatt
check
has gone
guarantee.
for Liquid. Wyatt, why have you gone for Liquid?
I think they have some cheeky upset potential. I still think FPX are going to qualify, but I could see them taking a cheeky upset loss to Liquid. I think Liquid started playing better in the last couple weeks. I think they're playing better comps. I think if they're playing on maps where Yampy can still play Chamber and he's in the form he was in the Mech game, I think that they have some potential for an upset here. And FPX had a shaky game last week, but I still think overall FPX should qualify. And it's going to be tough for Liquid to qualify, even if they win this game. Because
Sorry. Our producer has something to say with regards to this.
Yep.
Listen, we need to get Kurt on the
seeing
mic.
shit getting hyped
Kurt
on
just
the
has-
fucking runner show while
Kurt doesn't
Wyatt's
believe in
spitting.
this. Kurt doesn't believe in a Sliggy-less world.
Yeah, there's no way Liquid could win without Sliggy, the mastermind. He is the best coach in the world. I don't know what Valorant coaches do, but I'm sure he's great.
There you have it. There you have it.
It would
Very
be
nice.
It would be absurd actually if Liquid were able to go on a run. The thing is, Liquid
I
do
don't
qualify for these tournaments pretty regularly.
The way that I have my bracket, which is going to be incorrect, is that I think that this game, Liquid, cheeky upset, and then FPX are able to make it through the lower bracket, where because Liquid will have won this game, they'll meet them again in the match to qualify for the top 3, and FPX will win the rematch.
Right, I see.
Because Liquid are going to play FPX, I think there's upset potential in this game.
But you just don't think they're going to be able to do it twice.
But they'd have to then beat Fnatic, which
yeah, it's just not.
it's not going to happen. And then they'd have to beat FPX again. And I think by that point, I think FPX will win the second go.
Right.
But
like that.
I'm so intrigued to find out what FPX have got cooked for the playoffs. I just don't get it because their game plan has been so all over the place.
I also think it's kind of
groups.
rough as well. The FPX's tendency to play these comps that require like well-drilled server time. Everyone needs to be on a similar page in terms of how it plays. That shit gets pried apart by quality players, and Liquid just pull out some fucking outlandish shit sometimes. Like they're the kind of team that they will just have those individual moments that just your funny cute Yoru game plan. No,
But
just
also, Liquid are another team that if FPX have a comp that Liquid have to react to as a team, they have to make the right reaction. If you think about how FPX played their Breeze comp this week, where Ascend needed to go and fight for Halls control, but it wasn't immediately obvious that was the case. You watch how their comp works and you're like, 5 rounds in and you're like, oh, this comp really relies on Halls control, but it's hard to figure that out as a players. I feel like Liquid are not a team that make those like smart reactions. The players just kind of try and do some weird shit all over the place.
Sometimes the one head take is the best take though. And so that is Liquid's approach to Valorant.
It is sometimes.
Sometimes it is the one head approach.
What happens with Liquid is they always try to 5-head, but then they revert to 1-head and win. That's how they win. Seriously,
I've seen it so many times.
The player quality is so high.
It is high,
and then they always try and do some crazy experimentation, and then it's just like or we could just have Yampy play Chamber. And then he gets like 25 kills and they win. I mean, it's the classic Liquid moment.
Okay.
So.
It's just the IQ bell curve meme, where it's like 10 IQ, like just shoot them. And then like middle, like average IQ, it's like, no, we need to carefully take map control and execute our macro gameplay. And then like 5-head, like 1 million IQ, just shoot them. Like it's just the meme.
I'm firmly stuck at the like 95 IQ middle of the bell curve. Just
I thought you were going to say 95
sauce.
percentile.
No, just stuck in the 95th percentile. When have you ever heard me say just shoot them? That doesn't come out of my mouth.
That's true. You are in the middle when it comes to IGLing.
I know.
You are trying to micros like you're playing Age of Empires 2 HD edition.
Okay, let's look at the pick'ems then. So we have our first round picks. We're going for FPX and we're going for Ascend as well. So those are the opening.
We have
wins.
we have decided.
That also sets up Guild playing against Ascend and Fnatic FPX. Fnatic FPX, blockbuster. Guild Ascend, it should be actually a blockbuster.
I mean,
this is the best way the bracket could go, in my opinion, in terms of like, fun matches for the upper semis. If you win this game, you are through to Copenhagen. I don't know whether these are BO5s as well. I don't know enough about the EMEA format compared to NA. But I kind of doubt it because otherwise everything would be a fucking BO5.
I mean, yeah. I don't think they are, but
okay.
Could be wrong.
If we're just assuming it's a BO3 here, then, and maybe we're wrong, let's tackle Guild Ascend first.
I'm ready to make my call immediately.
Okay.
Please.
Immediately?
What is it?
Ascend.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think as well. Just improvements that they've been making every single week since they've swapped around the comps as well, started playing to more normal shit. they look like they're on a bit of a resurgence. Was it ACEND that I said I didn't expect them to make a resurgence in one of the previous weeks?
Probably.
I think it was. Yeah, I think I was completely wrong about that, but that's every day on the podcast. So, it doesn't really matter too much. But no, they've been bouncing back. They have been bouncing the fuck back, and they're going up against, honestly, a bit of a litmus test in the form of Guild, because I feel like Guild are just that team that's just always going to be hanging around that just above the middle of the pack.
A Guild recently lost to Na'Vi. That was one of the games that we haven't really discussed this week, but it was, in my opinion, not too ridiculous of an upset, and Bala, I think, called it as well. Na'Vi have been an inch away from beating a ton of teams. They were an inch away from beating Mech. They were an inch away from beating Liquid, and then they finally got over the line against Guild. So I don't think that was as crazy as it seems when you just look at the groups and are thinking about, you know, where people have looked in the win-loss column. I'm inclined to go for ACEND as well, but I think this one's close. I think if Guild are allowed to get Haven in the pool, I can't remember what ACEND's perma is. Have ACEND just been permering Haven? It would make sense, I think, for Haven to be banned here. And then where did Guild go? Breeze, maybe? And force ACEND to play on Breeze, where they were playing the Neon comp? I think Guild are likely to at least take a map in this series. Oh, ACEND banned Fracture. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of maps where I'm unsure how good ACEND are. I'm not sure how good ACEND are at Fracture. I'm not sure how good ACEND are at Breeze, because they ran into a weird comp and you couldn't really tell how good their Neon was. I'm not sure how good ACEND are at Haven. And, you know, Guild have looked kind of crazy on Haven over a longer period of time. I think there's some serious upset potential here, but I'm just not willing to go with it.
Sorry, you're talking about maps?
Yeah, ACEND.
Dude, I was just, I mean, actually, like, 40 IQ. I'm just sitting here thinking about like the monkey speedrun Civilization video. Just like a monkey just, I'm just like, dude, you started telling me about Haven, and I'm just like sitting here like, just talking to myself like, it's so funny when the monkey saws the wood.
It's just, but it's just a true, because the map Marvin, like I get it, like it's
just actually my brain when Josh starts talking about map pools, just this is what was in my brain when you're like, oh well, what if Haven gets put through the pool? Just that's what's playing on loop in my head.
I think there is a carbon monoxide leak in the building. I really think there is.
So we lean in ACEND?
ACEND, I think.
Yeah, I mean, ACEND.
But there is some serious upset potential in that game.
ACEND are doing it. They're back.
You're in the middle of the
They're back. They're back. They're back.
Okay, Fnatic FPX then. Fnatic FPX.
Fnatic.
No doubt.
Fnatic.
No doubt.
Yeah,
Fnatic.
it has to be Fnatic.
No
It has
doubt,
to be.
fam.
Like,
No
it just,
doubt.
Seal
It
it,
has to be
approve
Fnatic.
it.
if
Put it
Fnatic
in the mailbox.
lose here, this organization it's cursed. It's cursed. They lose in this.
Well,
moment.
no,
Their game
don't
against
disrespect FPX.
Their game against FPX was super close the first time around, and I felt like FPX had trolled with the Yoru pick on Fracture, and if they'd played a normal comp, I think FPX would have won that game.
Yeah, this is a bit contingent
I think
on
Fnatic
FPX.
got better after that, though.
This is a bit contingent on FPX settling down on some of the compositions, I think.
Yes.
Like,
but at the same,
they've showcased enough weird shit that I think they are incredibly difficult to prep for. But they need to settle on stuff and weed out the stuff that isn't working. And now is the time to do it in the playoffs. Like, now is the time. I don't think you go, or maybe they just go full on into the fucking weird time. No, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. I don't think
they're
they
playing
should.
against Fnatic. Fnatic have just looked unbelievable at the moment. So they are the clear favorites in my mind. But I can see the world in which there is the.
I think both of these are 3-map series. Assuming they're BO3s, I think both of these are 3-map series. I think FPX are too good to... You think that it's just a straight 2-0, Fnatic flatten them?
Actually, no. You're right. It is a 3-map series.
Thinking about the monkey.
No.
Cyberpunk theme playing in the background.
No, Josh, you're right.
Okay, so that sets up ACEND Fnatic. Actually, that's a seeding game. Let's focus on the elimination games first. FPX will be playing against
Did he
Mech.
seed it correctly?
Will only... Yeah, it actually doesn't matter, does it, for these games?
They are seeded correctly.
Yes, they are.
They
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, so FPX would play against Mech in this world.
FPX.
I've
Just
given up hope.
Mech
There is no more magic in the world, Josh.
FPX.
Mech just go out.
It's the time of men.
FPX.
Guild Liquid. This was really close. It's hard to call. Liquid were able to beat Na'Vi. Guild lost to Na'Vi. Guild beat Liquid, but that was a really close game. I think Liquid have looked better, trending up, whereas you could argue maybe Guild are trending down.
But Guilders were, you know what? Liquid.
I'll go Liquid. Fuck it.
So when we had a discussion saying are Guild favorites to make Copenhagen, we've now predded them going out
I'm not
two.
picking Liquid.
I'm
not picking Liquid.
Well,
I'm picking Guild.
Okay, you know what? I'll do Guild. Okay, no, I'm bouncing because here's the problem. I'm living in two conflicting worlds. One is my world where they upset FPX.
Yeah.
In which case, if that happens, I think
they're not even down.
Then they should be beating Guild theoretically. I think, right? But if they lose to FPX, they'll probably lose to Guild too. If that's the form they're in.
Yeah.
I think.
Dude, Leo and Trex are so good.
Know. Guild, Guild. Trex is going to jump in.
Really like
Trex is going to satchel in. They're going to trade. They're going to have fundamentals.
Leo's mad clutch actually.
Liquid will win in a world that's lacking fundamentals. That's where they win, and that will not be against Guild because Guild they love trading off Trex.
They do.
So you know what?
They're fucking disciplined.
Guild Esports.
Drilled.
Okay.
They polish their armor.
All right. So
they
now
make sure that they oil up their weapons.
Let's do lower bracket round 2 because this is another qualifier game.
Oil their weapons.
You're a moron. FPX Guild.
Always bring a whetstone into battle.
At this point, we're in bonkers territory where I feel like it's quite likely FPX are down here, right?
Yeah.
But
their side of the bracket is likely.
It could be pretty much anybody else down here.
At this point, I would still give it to FPX.
FPX.
They're just the favorites to make it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's lock it in.
Poor Guild.
FPX. So
X out of VU.
So this is our normal top 3. The world is normal according to Plat chat. Fnatic, ACEND, FPX.
Yeah.
There are definitely other worlds out there.
This is just Group A, right?
There's many. Yeah, I think the upper final is just Fnatic winning this. I think.
Fnatic win.
I
think Fnatic have got more chance of being upset by FPX than they do of ACEND.
Agreed. I think just by the nature of FPX's comps that they play.
Yes.
And for the lower finals, ACEND, FPX.
It's like a BO5 in the lower final, probably. Isn't that how they did it last time? I think they did it like that last time.
I have so much faith in FPX because I ignore the maps where they troll. I've realized now what the problem is with me when I analyze FPX. I ignore the maps where they play stupid comps. I just think in my head, well, they just won't do that again because
they've already proven, at least recently, that they can beat FPX, right? And so
but it's the same thing with the FPX game against Fnatic. They lost with the Yoru on Fracture. They never played Yoru on Fracture again.
We're thinking about this too much.
FPX are not going to play bad comps. They're smart enough to realize that the comps are bad.
If ACEND gets to this point, they should be looking better than they have recently. Wyatt is losing the will. He is sinking into the floor.
No, if ACEND get to this point, they've only won one game.
What do you mean?
If ACEND get to this point in the lower final, they've only beaten Guild.
Multiple weeks is my point.
Oh, no, they beat Mech as well. Sorry, I forgot.
They beat fucking
I'm just
Guild.
lying to you. Just fucking lying.
It's been 2 weeks of play.
I suppose.
I think ACEND...
I think FPX.
What do you think, Connor? We must end the Great Divide.
I think knowing Europe, we have to pick the worst possible answer. So it's going to be FPX, and FPX is going to go to Copenhagen with 3 subs, and it's going to be a disaster. So
I agree.
FPX.
I agree.
Yeah, honestly,
I agree with Connor.
Fnatic should win the grand final. Fnatic should win.
There you go.
But what about the narrative?
What would be the best 3 teams from EMEA to go? Because if FPX have to play if FPX have to play with subs, there's no way.
Guild.
So the top 3 for EMEA to be best represented is FPX if they can use subs.
If FPX have their roster, it's absolutely FPX. If they're playing with subs, it's Guild. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
There's no way.
ACEND, Guild, Fnatic.
Yeah. There's no way otherwise.
You know, Liquid and Fnatic have only ever made Masters tournaments together. Technically, because Liquid made it to Reykjavik by being 4th place.
Yeah.
Are they some sort of spirit, like, conjoined twin?
Yeah, I think they're spirit bonded.
It is?
Yeah.
Or they're just all British. And now it's no longer the case. Liquid have been
getting
weeding
rid of
out
the
the
Bren.
English, and now they're no longer joined together by fate.
It's a fact, though. The more British people you add to a roster, the more dysfunctional it is. That is a well-known fact.
Well, thankfully, there's no British people in these next couple of teams that we're talking about. It's time for Loud and DRX. Let's check in.
Go! Let's go! Okay. It's time for the best region.
Which region?
I mean, I like Brazil, but let's tone it down. Let's relax a little bit.
Bren's so high up on his chair as well. He's just towering above us.
I try to get as much loungeability out of these office chairs as I possibly
Those chairs
can.
are good loungers. Those are good lounger chairs. Wyatt has the right idea because I also
You're
like
strapped
going...
into a spaceship over there.
I
That
try
doesn't
and
look the most
Well,
max
the
out on
reason
lounge.
I'm actually, you don't understand this. I'm actually in like I'm in the NASA testing facility, so I'm spinning around at like 10 G's of force right now. So I have to be strapped
Wow,
in.
you're maintaining consciousness quite well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, actually, I'm like that car. I'm like that human that was designed for car crashes, but it's for space flight. So,
Let's talk Brazil, then we'll move on to Korea. Both Loud and DRX, I believe, have not lost a map since
No,
Reykjavik.
they haven't. As a matter of fact, Loud just win everything 13-0.
Loud have only had one map out of their 8.
64 map differential.
They have only had one map out of 8 where their opponents got to double digits. And it was the most recent game, click the game line as blue
useless game.
It was this one where they allowed their permaban through.
Yeah.
Because they were just trolling against game landers.
And they still won.
They just played the optic comp, the mech comp, and they won despite the fact that Split is their permaban. They still won 17-15.
And then the next map, what happened? Oh.
dude, I was going to VOD review these matches, by the way. I was like, oh man, I should look at Loud. I haven't looked in a while. And I was like, okay, like they're really good, like the last event they're at. Like, let's take a look. And I saw their map score. I was like, okay, never mind. I just didn't bother looking at their stuff because like it's clear they're just infinitely better than everyone else.
It's kind of, in some sense, it's kind of dull watching the Loud games and following them because they are just on a different. It's not even one tier above the rest of Brazil. It's like 2-3 tiers above the rest of Brazil.
Yeah, they're just so good right now. I mean, they played Fracture twice, and in rounds, they're 26-2 in 2 Fracture maps.
It's actually nuts.
Well, I mean, it's just, I mean, they're just so much better than the competition right now. Even on rounds where they're like on rounds where they're supposed to lose,
That's a
Pancada's just all right. I'll just get 3.
Yeah,
and that makes it
regions-
difficult, though, to tell if they've gotten better. Do you not think?
Yes, it does. Because some regions, you've got this big fish, small pond thing going on, right? Which, listen, we'll get onto DRX later because I was watching that.
Bro,
game.
there's no water left in Brazil.
Exactly.
Loud's taking all the water.
Louder are fucking, they are the blue whale in a pond. They have just displaced the water and every other team is starving. It's suffocating outside of the pond. They have taken up all the space. They are that good that at that point you're watching the VODs, you cannot tell if they've made improvements. You just know that they are really fucking good.
I mean,
They've made some comp changes.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. One of the things that they have changed is that Les is playing a lot more chamber now. And I think that was perhaps one of the differences if you look at Reykjavik in hindsight, is that they weren't really playing as much chamber as some of the other teams, and notably weren't playing it as much as Optic, who were taking full advantage of the fully busted chamber at that time. I mean, chamber's still OP, but he was even more OP then.
Yeah.
And they were taking full advantage of him with Ye, and Loud weren't at that point. They like Pancada played him on Breeze, I want to say. It was like on a couple maps.
In stage 1, they played like one map of Aspas playing chamber, one map of Les, and then one map of Pancada.
It might have been something like that, yeah. But Les is playing a lot more of the chamber now, putting them in position to pop off. I mean, yeah, they're crazy. I mean, all of their stats are kind of bonkers because they're just smoking everybody.
Sorry, if you could go to Les's page and look at his chamber stats, he has 0.97 KPR. It's just like
Jesus Christ.
He's just going dumb crazy with it. There's chamber at the bottom.
They're just frying the other teams right now. From the games, from the maps that I watched, I think they're playing good comps on the maps. They're playing the good comps of right now at an elite level, and there's not much more to say than that. I mean, they're playing good comps. They have crazy skill. They have the team play on lock.
Yep.
They still look amazing, and they've got to be one of the favorites for Copenhagen.
Aspas is frying as well.
Man.
Yeah,
Absolutely
This is the biggest argument for the partnership system.
What
See
for?
Loud play against consistently better competition.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
absolutely. I think Loud are going to get tested at Copenhagen,
Yeah.
and then champions. They're guaranteed to make it to champions at this point, pretty much. I mean, they are, and then they will hopefully get a spot in the franchising system and play against much better teams much more regularly. Because at the moment they're just smoking.
Slaughtering.
And how much better can you get when your competition isn't testing you too much? There are some teams in Brazil, though, that are doing some interesting things, interesting trap plays, utility combos, and they sometimes work against Loud. Like, they get the opening couple of picks, but Loud are able to muscle it back in almost every situation. And it never even becomes too dangerous.
Yeah. And they are bringing in the Fade as well, trying some new comps with that. I think they were one of the first teams, at least in a like recorded global match, to bring out this bind Fade.
Yeah.
Which has been working for them as well.
I'm not as big on this version of it though as EG's version, where you run the chamber as well. You know, like so it's the same comp except less would be playing chamber.
Yeah.
And Pancada was running Brimstone in one of their other games as well, so it doesn't, you know, I'm not saying you have to run the Astra with it, but Pancada can pick essentially whatever he likes. Brim, maybe even the Astra, Omen, that kind of stuff. But to me, I really like those solo smoke comps where you allow less to play the chamber too. You're much less susceptible to being flanked. I don't think you're getting too much value out of the Viper on this map anymore.
With the nerfs.
Yeah, I mean, some of the teams in Brazil were trying to run solo smokes, but they were just doing the like normal default smokes that don't provide the line of sight gap from heaven, and just getting rolled with it. But I think if you play it well, it's a really effective comp. This Loud comp functions a bit more like a Sova Sky kind of thing.
What a scary man.
Yeah,
The
overall
biggest-
though, I mean, go on, Bren.
I was going to say the biggest mark against them coming into Reykjavik was always just the inexperience, right? Because Les and Aspas are pretty young, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, they're very young. Les
Yeah.
is 17, Aspas is 19, 18, something
Just
like
young
that.
guys and
Very
experience
young.
on the global stage, and now they've got more experience than most people.
Yes.
Even though they kind of just went through the upper bracket, so they didn't play that many matches. But
I think people forget they got through the upper bracket to get to the grand finals as well. Like, they beat Optic,
Yes.
and they had 2 map bans, and sure, it was
And
a bit of
all
a
the
collapse,
time.
but they
all
were
the time in
favored.
interviews as well, they were like, "Yeah, our focus at Reykjavik is like just to, just looking at champs."
Yeah.
Like that was it the entire time. Their eye has always been on the end of the year.
Sorry, I'm just giggling at how ludicrous that cosmic divide is, to the point where the Sassy sees the diffuse happening and knows that the player has to be in that exact spot to do that. But I don't know, man. Just watching Loud, it's like they're just beating up the
Yeah,
youths.
they're not being tested really.
Just stealing their lunch money.
Yeah. It would be great to see Loud play. It will be great to see Loud play against better teams again.
Yeah.
I agree.
Is there even any more to be said about this team?
They're just
really
insane. They look like they should like top 4 minimum heading into Copenhagen. Minimum.
Yeah.
You know, again, up there with they're one of the teams that you have to say could win the tournament, make the finals. They're just still at the top.
Yeah.
Not resting on their laurels, even though I suppose there are no laurels to be rested on because they didn't win. So they, want the win. No laurels in sight.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what. This is pretty cool. The Brazilian production are doing live listen-ins to the comms.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when you're watching the VOD, they will just randomly jump into the comms for a whole round, and they'll listen
Portuguese?
to the. No, I don't. But it seems really cool for the Portuguese fans.
Yeah.
And I don't really get how they got the teams to agree to that. But if they're doing it over there, I'd love to see it everywhere else.
I mean, they do the in NA. They do like the after or like between breaks. They have the comm videos and stuff.
Videos.
But those are post-produced.
Yeah.
These are live. Like you're listening
live
to
jump
the
it in.
game. Yeah, like that. I don't know. That is very raw, unfiltered. You get to hear all of the stuff. Yeah, I think that's really sick. And they're playing it on a stage as well. So getting more and more of that experience, even though, kind of smoking people. Let's talk DRX then, because... yeah, maybe if Loud stumble at some point, there'll be something more interesting to discuss, but essentially just consider them favorites for Copenhagen, or favorites to make it deep. For DRX's side, they also haven't lost a map since Reykjavik, but they haven't been annihilating the competition, in my opinion, in the same way that Loud have.
No.
It's not been 13-0s across the board. They had a close game against CNJ recently where DRX looked a little sloppy and really relied on Mako to clutch. But they have been beating up their competition. I mean, Onslayers, that game was not particularly close.
Was that when they were playing the dumb comps?
No, Onslayers played the troll comps in their last
But they still
game.
were playing Euro, no?
Yeah.
Yes, actually,
Buzzy
you're right.
on
Buzzy
Yoru.
played Yoru in both of those
They were
games
still
against
kind of
DRX.
trolling. So DRX have got some. So the way I've done this as well, because I was watching their matches to try and pull stuff. I've pulled the good and the bad. So we're gonna start with the good. Actually, Kurt's pulled the good. So we're gonna do the good first. I mean, the individual talent of this team is still up there. Like Stax, Mako. Amazing talents in terms of what they can pull off in a round as well. When it comes to Mako's anchoring as well, even when Mako's entering, when RB just can't get it done.
Yeah.
If he goes down early, Mako's one of those players who's able to just open it up. This is the second one that I put in as well. They're clean side here. They're playing against CNJ, who were 1-6 in their group, but this is the closest match that DRX have actually had, and a lot of it comes down to just their mistakes. In this instance, they actually broke their own trademark with their own KO nade. So, like DRX just have essentially a split down the middle site, but it's a clean. You see these clean execs, glimpses of DRX that gets everybody excited and happy about them.
Sure,
just they're very coordinated when they're going for like split approaches in terms of their side takes. There's another example I have as well of a clip and the later of this map is just, I think the takeaway being that they're very good at reading ahead for what the opponents might be doing with their overall game plans. I think Korea as a region has always thought about like the macro game pretty well. Like they have these great macro ideas. They have good ideas of what the opponents might be doing, what their setups are, how to counteract it at the very beginning of rounds. Sometimes it works against them. But it's evident as well when CNJ, they tried to tiles crunch them in ACEND in the second map, which is another good example I've got of just DRX being ready for it. They read the ultimates. As soon as they see the Nightfall coming out, instantly the null command comes out. Cancels out the showstopper. They back all the way up. They get a pick as well because, again, CNJ range just overextends, just trying to make the most of it. And they end up winning out. I mean, these are short clips that I'm showing. These are the good. And now I'm going to point out some stuff that's going to upset the fans of DRX. Because I have cherry-picked from the closest series they had, which has been a bit of an outlier. They've been dominating the rest of their competition, don't get me wrong. But it hasn't been in the same kind of way because you still see those moments of weakness that we see from DRX when they go up against the global competition. Now, DRX had, I think, a pretty good showing at Reykjavik.
It was decent.
They had a 3-map series against Optic, right?
Yep.
That ended up looking winnable. This is just embarrassing. Like, there are moments like this where you can just feel the uncoordination. There's no time on the clock here, and they're finding the pickoffs, and I guess their plan is to just play this retake, but just no one's really covering the angles. They let the plant go off for free. It gets put into like this 3v3. They have the object permanence of Goldfish. They just forget that somebody could be backside. Just Benencia is just sitting here, just looking around. They don't clear him still. He's killing people. They're not clearing him. They're not killing him. This series was painful to watch at times. It was truly, truly painful. And it wasn't hard to pick out the bad elements. And again, just to reiterate, I have cherry-picked their closest series that they've had, and it was when they've been playing their worst gameplay.
Well, I think an interesting comparison here as well, though, is that would be almost impossible with Loud. Like, if you tried to pick the worst moments from Loud,
letting their permaban through.
Yeah, you'd have to pick specifically from Split, I think. And that was their permaban. Otherwise, you'd be kind of grasping at straws to find those moments. You could find moments where some of the Brazilian teams did cool stuff against them, but they don't fumble, whereas it feels like DRX are a bit too readable and do sometimes fumble.
Pistol round getting minced. That's the clip I want you to pull here, Kurt, because this is a thing that I've noticed from DRX a lot, is that when I was talking about before, these big macro plans that DRX have, these cool ideas they have, when they come across an obstacle, they tend to just still brute force into it. And this is an example of it. They see the Sage Wall. They wanted to go for like a bit of a cut noise pistol round push. And they see the Sage Wall off the rip. Instead of just like breaking it and somebody watching one portion of it slowly and then just playing out the mid round, they still continue with their hit. And it doesn't matter that they stun. I mean, it's good that they even use the fault line as well to clear that corner just in case. But it's just a player closer for shorty. He kills 2 of them. And it comes down to this really tight scenario. Again, you look at the opponents they're playing against, it's a lot of individualism, like a lot of solo plays happening as well as they're just trying to take the space out. and it's not too coordinated, but they end up losing this pistol round strat because they don't cancel the hit. They see the Sage Wall, they commit to it, they end up losing 3 players, and they jump into it. DRX do this a lot, where they have an idea at the beginning, and they don't really do... They like to make their decision at the very beginning of the round, and then they struggle, I think, with sometimes the mid-round pivots a lot of the time.
I still find it impressive when I watch DRX and they have a good mid-round pivot. And I have to think to myself, why am I so impressed by a team that makes top 5, top 6 at a international tournament having good mid-rounding? And the reason is because that isn't one of their normal strengths.
Yeah, it's not.
Their normal strengths are having a good game plan that surrounds the ults, having great individual skill.
This is painful. They stacks flashes, Maku's playing close, swings out into 2 of them, they're dropping down. They're trying to play off each other in a crossfire. They're in a post plan here. Like a beautiful stun as well, utility being used, but just the peak timing is all off. Like Rain just takes a wide swing, like when it should be a crossfire being held, so that they can't do that. Like they're playing against opponents that are just not disciplined at all. Yet they just can't hold the common scenarios when I'm watching in this cherry-picked game. Outside of this, they look really good, but the overarching point, the one that we were making about big fish in a small pond with Loud. Like Loud are just dominant. You can tell that this team is just not messing around at all. They are slaughtering their opponents. With DRX, they're playing against weaker opponents domestically, and you're still seeing every now and then those moments, but they don't get punished for it as much. People show them a ton of respect in their region, a ton of respect with overall plays and whatnot. I don't know if I've got anything else to really showcase. I mean, I guess the indecisiveness with late hits, I can't really, maybe if we play the clip, it will come back to me. That's the last one I've pulled from the clips of this one as well.
I think overall, though, when I'm watching DRX, they are still likely to make a deep run in a tournament. But what's frustrating is it still feels like they're going to struggle to get like top 2, top 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is what people hope from this team. And also, the way in which they lost at Reykjavik was to other teams from the Asian regions. And that is kind of where that's been DRX's reputation. We're the best team from the east of the world. We're the best team from Korea, but we're better than the teams in Japan. We're better than the teams in APAC. That's been their reputation since they were formed. And that wasn't the case at Reykjavik. They beat Zeta, but they got knocked out by them as well. And they beat Paper X, but they placed behind them overall in the standings.
And more faith than Zeta or Paper X going forward because of it.
And they actually beat both of those teams.
Cherry-picked clips, I now think that they're going to be the worst team at Copenhagen.
Well, that's what I mean. I think I've skewed your opinions a little bit by pulling from that, right? Because that's what I'm trying to hammer home, because some people will look at that and think, oh, DRX are shit. They're not. They're still a good team. Sure. They still have good ideas with their execs. They still have when they're playing on top
execs as well.
Yeah, when they're playing at top form and actually playing off each other, you don't see those problems with the anti-synergy that I was pointing out. But it still comes up, and they often don't get punished for it because they're playing in a weaker region. So it's the biggest issue for them, I think, as well, is that every time they turn up to the global events, they really do get tested. But honestly, what I'm hoping for DRX is, if they qualify, I want to see a boot camp from them where they're playing against, playing in EMEA, honestly. Just a lot of time to just knuckle down and actually really get up to that form where we know that they can be, because this team is cool to watch. They have really cool ideas. I can understand why everyone is such a fan of DRX, because they do come in. It's like, it's easy to pass Valorant. It's not chaotic, really. It's like, it's just clean to watch. Like, you don't have to understand much. You can see how all of their utility combos up together to be really interesting. And they individually, they pop off as well. So, yeah.
I mean, they're really smart with how they set up their early rounds a lot of the time, too. One of the things that they've really done excellently is throw a lot of regenerable utility at the beginning of these rounds that gains them like map control or threatens that they can be in an area, and then they can just play a quiet round, get that utility back, and go into an exec. And that makes it difficult. If you're a defending team and you're having to throw counter utility against this utility, if yours doesn't regen, that's a problem. But also, if you sit back and passive and just allow them to take all of that space, you don't know whether they've actually followed it, because they're throwing it consistently every round. I feel like, though, against the best teams in the world, they will come up with answers against that style, compared to when you look at Loud. Sure, they bullshit their way through some of the rounds by just being way better than everybody else. But I think the way in which they play is going to be more dangerous against the top teams in the world, whereas the RX are a bit more formulaic, I would say. And that, I think, is going to potentially pose an issue for them. What is even a good expectation for this team at Copenhagen? What we were talking about this at Reykjavik. We were
Finish, like,
you
top
you
8.
said, Wyatt, you don't want to talk about them until they do something. And then they kind of did something because they beat Zeta and PaperX, who finished 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
They finished 5th, 6th.
Went on a
Yeah, that's right. They
Yeah.
finished 5th, 6th.
Like, it doesn't even-
They had a close game against
Doesn't even
Optic.
count. I mean, it does count, but like,
Did
does
they-
it? Because Zeta
Exactly.
got so much better after the group stage.
So
They played so much better, but
I feel better out loud than I do about
oh,
DRX.
for sure.
Obviously,
they're
part of
like-
that is because Loud made it to the fucking finals.
I would
as
just
well.
expect that they're going to be a top 8 team
And that's the
and finish like 5th to 8 again. Especially considering, dude, they finished. What did they finish in 6th?
5th, 6th.
They
tied,
finished in
yeah.
5th, 6th, with the best EU team there being G2. I mean,
Yes.
it's unlikely that they finish higher than 5th, 6th when you have, Fnatic are going to be there in their full form. ACEND are starting to heat up, and assuming, it would suck if FPX can't have their full roster, but I think at the very least you're going to have those two teams. Shit, even if Guild are there, are you going to confidently tell me the DRX are going to beat Guild 100%? Is that?
I think they're on a similar level.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that they can get a higher placement than 5th, 6th with EU in full force there. And then, if you have Optic again, you have Loud in there. Fucking Paper Rex are still great. I mean, there's so many good teams.
Yeah.
There are going to be so many good teams at Copenhagen. It's just going to be stacked throughout. I mean, who...
But inevitably, they
Who
are
can
gonna
they
make
even... Who are they, honestly, who are they beating there?
Yeah, I
Crew?
was actually gonna. I was gonna
Are they
say
going to
who
beat
do they
Crew?
beat.
Are they going to beat...
I didn't feel very confident
like Nip?
heading into this.
Yeah,
for
I
them.
think they're on a similar tier to some of the teams that might end up qualifying.
I mean, DRX can beat the EMEA teams that are being sent. Let's say, Weekend FPX or a Guild or even an Ascend. They're on a similar tier
Yeah, I
to
think
that
they
kind
could
of
beat those
level.
teams.
I think they can beat... probably whoever the second place NA team is, but I have no idea really
Do
who
you
that
think they
is.
can beat
but
Ghost?
Maybe not, actually. Maybe not. But,
don't know.
But
Probably not.
they should. I think DRX's expectation should be to return back to being the best team in the Eastern Hemisphere. To
Sure.
return, especially with Mech's decline from Russia, they now have they can stretch further west.
I genuinely, I think if they make 5th, 6th again, it'll be more impressive this time than last time.
Yeah, kind of, because the EMEA
I think like
teams
almost
are around.
inevitably, because there's just going to be a higher quality of competition.
Yeah, I think Copenhagen was nerfed a little bit by the fact that they
were just more
weren't as good from the EMEA. Yeah.
I think they need a boot camp.
Well, yeah.
Listen, they're another team that might just. Josh's point about like the Loud playing against good competition will probably be good that in APAC have them be able to play.
The other APAC
Every
teams play
global
against
event.
each other.
Every global event, I always hear about DRX losing scrims early on.
Mm-hmm.
In every global event.
Yeah.
I always hear about them losing scrims early on, and then they have a massive learning curve where they improve, and then in the middle of the event they finish like somewhere in the middle of the pack. If they go out there earlier, I think, and actually start playing scrims where they are getting tested, I think they could do some damage.
They could even boot camp. I don't know what the ping is like, honestly, between Korea and Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, those kind of regions. But if they're able to get to a position where they could play against some of those teams,
They do scrim against them.
Yeah, but those teams are good enough, is my point, to actually give them good competition. It's not like Loud where they'd have to play against, they actually, Loud have to travel in order to play against somebody good. They'd have to go to North
they
America
already
or
are
EMEA or
practicing
something.
against those teams, though.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
we've heard that they play against PaperX and Zeta, so
Yeah.
those are the teams that I think they're going to get more value out of playing compared to the domestic Korean competition. But we don't get to see that, so we have no idea what they're currently looking
outside
like.
in.
Yeah. So the other regions though that we can take a look at in future weeks, Zeta Division. Like I said, they've only played 4 series so far, so Lord knows what's happening there. PaperX and the rest of the APAC, PaperX, Team Secret, they've got a team called Gaming Gladiators.
Dude, I don't know. All right, that team's fucking awesome.
That team beat PaperX recently as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then lost them in the finals, but they do
I
have a
hope
win over them.
Gaming Gladiators make it to Copenhagen.
Gaming, and it's not gaming.
Oh, it's gaming?
Gaming.
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 Is that a real org?
Apparently.
Fuck yeah, dude. I hope that team better make it to Copenhagen. That's awesome.
So yeah, there's opportunities for us to take a look there as well. And also, Crew have actually been playing some newer comps as well that allow Nags to play Chamber and stuff. So we'll talk about those in the run-up to Copenhagen too. But now it's time for our final and most important segment. It's Wyatt's Weekly Award.
Yes. Hey, bro. Pass the sticks. It's Wyatt's Weekly Award.
This week,
Prestigious.
the weekly award is going to our very own Balla TW. It's going to our very own Balla. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Ball in the tub.
Balla in the
TW in the
tub. Fuck it. Because his IQ is actually just dragging us up with him. His IQ has brought our average intelligence up with his very presence of being on this show. It's true. And for that, I'm giving it to Balla because he had the crystal. Balla has access to the crystal ball, and it's his mind. Okay, Balla knows the future.
Is this based mainly on the Guild Na'Vi pick?
No, it's
did he have
based on
something
his
else?
predictions are just so much better than all of ours. It's like not even close.
Yeah.
He's actually dragging our average IQ up.
Yeah, he truly is.
We're actively fighting against it, but he refuses to give in. He will get predictions correct, and he will drag us up with him
5 and 7
on
last
average.
week.
He didn't even have the crazy.
Wow.
I guess that's pretty good actually. 5
I mean,
and 7,
this week
right?
was chaos, but
listen,
overall
I'm
he's
gonna
at
toot my
like
own horn. I went 6
Bren
and
was the
6.
best this week.
I was the best this week.
overall though he's at like he was at like 75-80% or something correct.
Yeah.
Which is fucking dude. He's got the so for that. I'm giving Balla the weekly award
I'll add
for his
credit to that as
intelligence,
well.
his mind.
The matches we've been playing, we don't scrim with Bala much. He's a family man.
True.
He's busy, but when we do play with Bala, the man is people talking away, commanding us while also dropping 30 on Jet and Chamber. He's a demon.
I'm looking at the stats, and I completely screwed up the last week and stuff. I think it's because we switched the seats, Bren. You went 3 and 9.
No, well, dude, I mean, listen, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. We waited until the end of the episode.
Sorry, you went 4 and 8.
4 and 8.
Oh, that's the same as
not
me.
bad.
That's the same as me.
I mean, that's fine.
Wait, so who
No,
went
you
6 and
didn't go
6?
4 and 8, Josh. She went like 8 and 4. Or no, that's not right.
What?
Kurt needs to redo the maths.
We'll have to look at the
Kurt's got
numbers
his
as well.
abacus out in the background.
Well, what I did was I did the show prep. Things got switched around. I'm like, Josh should probably sit on the end of the table because he's the shortest of the bunch, and there's like a thing there.
Yeah, Josh is
So
5'4".
I didn't swap everything back over.
I
when
see.
things changed.
So I went 6 and 6 this week. It was. I went 6 and 6 and have a
How the fuck
63%.
did you go 6 and 6?
Can't remember, and that's the problem. Is that I should have probably realized that I had.
Dude,
some good Preds, but
I knew my
can't
Preds
recall.
were fucking dog shit. I just saw 6 and 6 and I was like, the universe has gifted me something here, and I'm just not going to say anything. I just knew all my Preds were wrong.
Yeah,
Guys, this segment is about Balla.
yeah. it's
Sorry,
about
yeah.
Balla.
Stop making
He's also
everything about
loving,
it ourselves.
loving, doting father.
I know. He's got great skin. Balla was fucking glowing at LCQ.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't believe how Balla. Dude, he needs to drop his skincare routine.
Yep.
It's
VALORANT dug
unbelievable.
both, actually.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
When I compare
what
myself
what
to
a
them,
man.
I am a tattered piece of man flesh.
They drink water.
They drink water. They drink water.
Yeah.
That's
No,
the first.
it's
your
more than
body
just
is
water.
70% water.
Balla is
you need to
glowing.
consume water.
Water is very important.
Shall I explain to you what
That's
I
the
drank
first
yesterday?
step.
What did you drink yesterday?
Okay, yesterday I woke up, I had a Red Bull. Then later on, I had a glass of water. Then I had 3 glasses of mezcal. And that was
That's
what I
it?
drank
That was
today.
You didn't drink any other liquids the whole day?
Have you
Are
had
you a
anything to drink
cactus?
today?
Yeah,
But
I had a Red Bull and then I went and got a glass of water.
my
And
God.
honestly, I feel
Are you a
more
succulent?
dehydrated after drinking the water. It's reminded me what water is.
That's not even, how is that even possible?
You've broken like the membrane barrier in your body.
Yeah, I'm planning for when we get into a post-apocalyptic scenario.
Drink more water.
And water becomes a scarce resource.
It's not scarce now.
And I've trained
it's
my
not
body.
even about the water. How
I'm
do
a
you not
Fremen.
feel the urge to drink anything at all during the rest of the day?
I
How
do
do you
have an
go
urge
from
to
like I
drink.
woke up,
Oh, he has
had
an urge
a
to drink.
Red Bull, had a water, 3 mezcals, and
Please,
then you
Josh,
just didn't.
Did you know that if you're just even the tiniest a bit dehydrated, the tiniest a bit, it drastically affects your performance when it comes to just day-to-day activities, reaction time, things like that.
I'm living at 30%.
I swear to God, if you drink 2 liters of water before our match today, you will fucking drop 50.
Yeah.
You will drop 50.
Dude, I saw Josh go like Josh went like 24-2 in a rank game yesterday.
I had 3
Imagine if
mezcals.
you were hydrated.
yeah,
you would have been like
imagine.
48-2.
destroyed.
You would have been farming.
True. All right. Well, that does it for us. I'm just getting lambasted at the end for being dehydrated. I want to ask you guys a little question to go into the comments here. All right. I want to ask you guys who you think is going to be of the teams that we discussed today, right? Of the 4 North American teams, the 3 favorites that we had for EMEA, Loud, DRX. Who is the best team right now? Who is the team that you think is looking the favorite for Copenhagen? Is it an Optic repeat? Is it Fnatic? Are you on the Fnatic train? Are you on the Loud repeat? Are you a Korean simp? Are you on the DRX copium? Let me know in the comment section below as soon as the live broadcast ends, or if you're a VOD watcher, you can add a little comment down there. We'll see you next time for episode 96.